All right, team, guess what? Well, today's one of those days that I'm happy as hell, team. Why? Because I got my man Ryan Faloona back. Like always, that's what it's all about, right? We always want to be trading with the community. That's why we're here right now. You guys out there right now tuning in to Benzinga live trading. That's what we're here for, really. We're not here to act like we're know-it-alls. We're not here to show you the Lamborghini. But what we are here to do is be a supportive community. And yes, an actual supportive community, not just a community. There's plenty of communities out there. You tell me which ones are actually truly supportive. And if you guys feel by any means that we're never supporting you, please let us know. Because I'll tell you right now, that's what Ryan and I do this for. We want to be the source of information for you guys. If you guys need anything, stocks are moving. Benzinga Pro is here for you guys. I just hope that you guys smash the like and get ready for some trading action. Let's get to it. Live trading with Benzinga. Smash the like. Let's go.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Those words have been dancing around my head all night. Oh, it's Vegas lore, that phrase.
All right, team, let's get it started. Let's bring on Ryan. You guys know he's back, team. Smash the like button. Get it up there. We're here to support you guys. Are you guys ready to get to some trading action? Of course, it's the morning of CPI. We'll take a look here. Let's talk a little bit about what happened in these numbers before we get to the action. Of course, you guys can keep up with all this action with Benzinga Pro, but if you don't have Benzinga Pro, we'll help you out at least today. CPI year-over-year outlook estimate was 5.5. Prior was 5.7. We came in at 5.6. Of course, the estimate was 5.5. Prior was 5.7. So we slowed down on the turn of inflation, right? So it was coming down pretty fast, a little bit more than 0.2 on every report. Now we're starting to see it slow down a little bit, only a 0.1 decrease on the year-over-year outlook. When we look at core CPI, I think that's very important to take a look at because core CPI was expected to come up, right? The estimate was 0.3, prior was 0.4. We actually got that 0.4. Some people had a 0.4 estimate, so that might be a little bit confusing there. I'm going to go with the 0.4 estimate that was in line there. But it seems to me like this isn't a good thing, right? Because it's an increase, right? Not a decrease. And it also shows us more and more that even the core CPI that excludes food and energy is still staying sticky in the inflation. All right, that's going to do it for the CPI outlook. Now we can get into a whole bunch of the stocks outlook. There's a lot of stocks that had earnings. So we'll go ahead and take a look. I'm going to just really quickly just give levels on the SPY, and then we'll go to Ryan. He always has a good report for us. So for me, the hourly chart speaks volumes right now. And that's kind of funny, right? It speaks volume. All right, we'll see what happens on the SPY here, right? You can see that we've had multiple times to break out above this 415. One attempt, right? Two attempts. 3 attempts with the CPI report this morning in the pre-market. So what I'm going to actually be looking for is a 407 move or maybe a 408 move and then a move back towards 413 because that would be the bullish move to the upside, right? And I'm going to stay in that mood until we break out above or below these levels. So that means a clear close on like a 5-minute or a 15-minute above 415. A clear close below 407 or 406 on the SPY on a 5 or 15-minute basis will show you that we're either breaking down or breaking out. Those are definitely important levels that I'll be looking at. I got a lot of swing trades on, especially with our new swing trading show. I got 4 swings on right now, team. Getting back into the levels where I used to get to, which was all the way up to 10 swing trades. That's my max. That's when I cut myself off. But we'll see what happens with that outlook. And I'll definitely cover them in just a little bit. Smash the like button, team. Let's keep going. Let's get to my man, Ryan Faloona. And you guys know he got Benzinga Pro. He keeps up with all the action.
You got that right. First of all, it is great to be back with all of you. I missed each and every one of you, but I had an amazing time in Arizona for Super Week. I got to say, my first time in Scottsdale will not be my last. And because of the PGA event and the Super Bowl, that was the place in the United States to be. Blew it away. However, we back now, and it's time to track the market and make things work out for us. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there. Looks like we got a couple of wishes in the chat here. Becca, happy Valentine's Day. Christoph, excuse me, happy Valentine's Day. Jay, Mingo, everyone, welcome back. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Jay, I'm a little bit concerned here. You said Ryan is back. Woohoo. You wouldn't believe the anarchy that was going on. So, Jay, it sounds like you're saying I'm the adult in the room, and when the adult leaves, the kids all play. Wish I could have seen it. But I'd like to hear those stories. Mitch, really excited for your swing trading show. Congratulations. Glad you have 4 swings on. I'll be looking for updates from you on what you saw. But let's get down to what we saw here this morning. Okay, I've got a couple of stocks in the movers tool that we're going to talk about and get prepared for, but let's also talk about the CPI. You were in Jay Rice, you were in, okay, Jay, I apologize. I did not know that you were in Scottsdale. Do me a favor and send me an email, and I promise you I will make plans to meet up the next time I am down there. Like I said, I'm itching to get back, so don't you worry about that. Didn't realize, but I am always up for meeting the community, by the way. I travel a lot to meet the community. That's what this trip was about. I'd be happy to do that in the future. So reach out to me. We are a real community. We are real people. We are not just behind a screen. Anyway, let's get back to the CPI here. As Mitch gave you a great breakdown, definitely sticky. One of the things that we're seeing here is that the CPI X shelter is still 4. This is kind of something that Powell has talked about a number of times before. If you look at Benzinga Pro, like Mitch said, I used this to follow along. This was the first workspace that I came to here this morning because I wanted to get a rundown on everything that was going on. You can see we have all of the numbers here, but we also have this great headline, which pretty much sums it up. Inflation continues to cool. Awesome. But at a slower pace than economists predicted, stocks struggle to price in the Fed's next move. So the struggling to price in the Fed's next move means that we are likely to see some back and forth chop, which we have been accustomed to. So we're going to go ahead and try to make sense of that. I think today you're going to have a lot of opportunity to play some of these ETFs that we talk about. SQQQ, TQQQ, SOXL, SOXS. Also, natural gas making a move off the bottom here. So let's take a look at Boyle and UNG. We might be able to trade those as well. Otherwise, the inflation number here, not horrible, right? Not horrible. So we will see. We'll see where we go from here. Another comment in here says experts say U.S. inflation is likely to be far stickier and longer lasting than CPI data announced. So again, we shall see what's going on here. All right. Let's go ahead and look into some of the stocks that are moving here today. Let me see. Oh, you guys. Yes. Did you see any balloons? Jim. So no, I didn't. This is actually a funny question. No, we were looking for these different spy balloons that we keep hearing about. I didn't see them. I will say it might have been a little bit difficult for me to see because where I was, there were blimps and planes flying banners around for all of the different stuff. I will say, though, on my trip back, about 6 or 7 hours after I landed, I heard that some of the airspace over the Great Lakes was shut down due to an unidentified flying object, a UFO. I got to say this, after my trip, if my flight had been delayed because of any type of UFO, I would have been absolutely irate. Thankfully, that's not what happened, and my travels were completely safe. I was able to get back on time. So just a quick note there. Judge, good to see you, my man. Appreciate all the love. Appreciate all of the love from all of the community out there. Now, let's quickly talk about some of the stocks that are moving here today. First one on the movers tool is going to be BWV. This is Blue Water Vaccines, and you folks should all remember this because we've traded this a number of times before. This has come off the mover scanner. This has come off the actual relative volume scanner. This has made a lot of moves on the back of some of the other vaccine talk, both during COVID and then slightly after. We're getting another pop here today. Now, this stock, I believe the last time we traded this stock was in a $3 or $4 handle, and here we are hanging out about 150. So obviously the big bull predictions about how good this stock was going to be in the past did not materialize, at least did not materialize yet. However, we are getting a nice pop here. We were at about $1.15 yesterday. We popped as high as $1.76 here this morning. Again, this is going to be part of our therapeutic biotechnology theme that we've identified for stocks that are moving around. Looks like we had appoints a seasoned commercial operations leader. This is news from yesterday, Frank Yeager. So I don't really see any fresh news here today. Perhaps this is just kind of a delayed effect from yesterday as people look into it. We shall see. As far as the price action goes, we carved out a really nice range here, actually a 40-cent range that we're kind of in the middle of. We're close to the bottom of that range. That range is 136 to 176. Current price here at 142. I've got a VWAP here at 152-ish, and so we're a little bit beneath that. What we'd really like to see here is some more volume expansion, like always, to take us through some of these key levels. First one I'm going to be looking for here is how does this stock behave around the VWAP? If it shows the propensity to want to break and move higher, maybe we can actually buy some of those breaks and trade some of that to the upside. Otherwise, we're going to have to be more and more patient and try to get some of these as they bottom around support levels. So that's where we're at on Blue Water Vaccine. Next one here is going to be FUSN. This is Fusion Pharmaceuticals. So again, part of our biotech therapeutic theme that we've identified. We do have a catalyst here this morning. Fusion Pharmaceutical shares are trading higher after the company announced it will acquire the phase 2 program for 225 AC-PSMA INT. That is a mouthful. A radio pharmaceutical targeting metastatic castrate. Did I just say that right? Castrate, yes. Resistant prostate cancer. Okay, so a lot of technical terms in there. I'm going to try to never do that again because I probably butchered that. Now, looking at the stock here, we popped as high as 525. We've come all the way back into 4, and it looks like we tried to pop again. So after we bottomed out at about 406 here, we actually traded all the way back up to 472. That was a little bit above the VWAP, but not a whole lot, and we seem to be breaking down. So on this stack, we definitely want to make sure that we find a bottom. Otherwise, the bottom could just completely fall out on this. So we shall see on Fusion. One of the other ones here that's pretty interesting is Palantir. Remember, we talked about Palantir. We've been trading Palantir all the way back. I feel like this was a common one. We took an option swing trade on here that I ended up breaking even on. Didn't make the money that I had hoped on it. Bummer. But this now is fitting into the AI theme that we're seeing. So Palantir has a catalyst here today. Palantir Technology shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q4 EPS and sales results and issued Q1 2023 revenue guidance above estimates. So, again, in the AI phase, we've had some news recently on Palantir, had some pretty good earnings. We're popping here today, up 13% today. Got good guidance on there, which I think is really important. And so we'll see where Palantir takes us. This one, I want to actually see kind of bottom. This one had kind of I don't want to call it necessarily a cult following, but a really, really strong following. And I want to make sure that we actually trade this correctly. So instead of trying to buy a breakout on this one, what I would really like to see is to see it come in and find some type of support, whether it's just for today or a longer term support. As long as we trade this around support, I think our odds for successful trades are going to be better. Next here, we have LICN, which is Lichin China. I'll say this. You guys know my thoughts on Chinese stocks. Don't really like buying them. Don't really like trading them. Certainly not going to hold them. A lot of that is based on the accounting and the fact that you cannot necessarily rely on any of the numbers given. Well, now we have another angle added to this, right? We've got a whole bunch of talk about these different spy balloons. There's a lot of back and forth with what's going on with China and all of that. So these stocks, I think, actually took another level of risk owning these. Now, if you're going to day trade these, you're going to be in and out of these. Obviously, that's different than buying them and holding them overnight. However, just remember, just because it's intraday doesn't mean that a stock can't get halted. Any of this stuff can get halted. I am going to completely skip China, no matter how juicy the setup. There are plenty of other opportunities here for stocks that are operating in locales that are not sending spy balloons across the world. So I'm going to pass on this, but figured I'd bring it up because the way I trade is not the way everyone else trades. You can see here we did pop as high as 711. We've retraced almost all of that move, coming all the way back into the 5 handle. So we'll see if this gears up. One of the things that's interesting about a move like this, despite this being a Chinese name, is that we've really kind of reset our VWAP, right? So our VWAP is at about 582. It's 40 cents or about 50 cents, actually, just about 50 cents, 45 cents below or above where the price is right now, excuse me. So definitely some range there, even on a technical move back to the VWAP. We'll see if we end up getting that. Now, the rest of the stocks here on this list are all going to be some of those ETFs. And again, with the CPI print this morning, probably the biggest data point that we're going to get today. That is one of the reasons we should be able to trade these here today. Look at Nat Gas before we start here. 252 on Nat Gas. That means Boyle and UNG to the upside. Boyle here only up about 4%. Maybe we can actually take out this intraday high here at about 642. Let's see if we can go higher here on Boyle. So that's all I've got from the list here today. I would say let's go through the chat and see what else everyone else has. We can wait for Mitch to get back. When he gets back, we will ask him his opinion on that.
Did someone call?
Say,
let's get ready, team. I'm ready here. Let's go.
Oh no.
This is smart.
Let's go.
From 93 TV. This is my girls, Bob Buddha Bob. Say hi. Yeah. We've got a crowd that's in a frenzy.
Let's go. Who remembers this song?
For the start of the game.
Batter up. Let's go.
Please rise for the singing of our national
Please don't burn on the grill. Who remembers that batter up song?
I
Baby?
do.
Let's go. All right, let's have some fun. Classic Nelly. Just got me a new bomb bat. Ooh, excited. Had to show it off a little bit. Ready to go, ready to swing to these stocks. Like always, I got some swings on right now, so that's why I wanted to bring it up. Let's get to the action right now, and let's talk a little bit about what I see in my swing trades, right? I got shop yesterday, right? We got it at 48.38, 34, and we got it here on live trading, right? It went up there in the pre-market above towards close to the 50. Towards the 49.40 area. I wanted to take some profit. So we'll look to see if we get a little spike out the gates. I'll look to take a little bit of profit and leave the rest of this on the break-even runner. We'll see what happens there on shop. Also got General Mills yesterday at 76.10. You guys can see that. That was right here. So not a bad little entry there on General Mills. But we're going to look to see if the value names even hold on. They've had like kind of a little 2-day bounce back. We'll look to see if they actually bounce back here. Going to look for a little push through the 77.26. Above that, I could take some profits. Got in this at 76.10. Really need to get it back towards the 77s for me to take some profit and let the rest of it run. And then, of course, the Tesla Dragon swing. This has been a swing of all swings from 211. Now, yesterday, we got some profits into the 190s on that first takedown out the gates. Now we're going to look for it to keep going. I'm break even on the rest, looking for it to come down towards the 180s, 175 area. That would be below the 23.6% retracement, which was right around the 190. That's why I took profits there. And I'm looking down here into this 38.2% retracement, which would be closer towards the 172 area than 175, but I'm going to take 175s and be happy with that. We'll see if we can get down there in Tesla for the big swing. Last one, UNG. I've taken my shot, talked about that bottoming action that I'm holding off of. 791 is my out. Average is towards 847. We'll look to see if we get to the 9 handles today. That's going to be very important. One thing that was clearly shown on the CPI report was that piped gas had jumped in prices, at least for inflation, right? So we'll look to see if for any means we can actually finally get these natty gas stocks going. We'll see what happens. All right, let's.
Mitch, I was just gonna add on there real quick. That nat gas chart sure looks like it wants to go, but good point. Let's see if we can actually get them going. It's looked like it's wanted to curl and start moving up to the upside. It just has not had the strength to do that. So I'm sorry, I'm refreshing my platform here.
No worries, you're good, big dog.
But yeah, let's see if we get that, because this actually might be an interesting swing trade, and I think you can do this through some of the ETFs. Quick thing here, we actually had this discussion on happy hour right before we left. Be careful with what you pick here, right? Have an idea of what you're trying to go through. If you go for Boyle and we get some choppy action in the price, you might end up getting kind of stopped out of your position. There's the bell. Good luck, folks. Let's get to it.
All right, like always, don't want to be jumping the gun too much, so I'm going to put the bat down before I start swinging. All right, let's see what we got today, team. Let's see if we can get that money. Let's go. All right, first focus is going to be Tesla. Tesla, first move, looks like we're getting a down action move here towards the 190s. We went towards 190.28. That looks great for me on that. We got to watch the SPY. First move is down. I thought the CPI report would bring us a little bit down, right? I'm thinking by the end of the day, we close closer towards 407 or 408. We'll see what happens today. A close above 415, definitely you got the bull is taking control, and this market could be ripping. We'll look to see what happens on that. Shop is a little bit worrisome as it coming down here towards my entry here. Don't want it to break down there through the 48s today. Through that 48, I'll go ahead and not get out. If it holds 48s, it holds 48s. I might have to get out on this one. What a little frustrating is on Shop is that we were like closer towards the 49.23 area. Didn't really get back there towards the 49.50s, which we were there in the pre-market. Wanted to take some profits there. Just didn't want to take profits in the pre-market. And I might have to start doing that if I can't wait towards the open. We'll see what happens today. Looks like I might get cut out of it right now. We'll look to see. Boom. I'll let you guys know if I do take it. There it goes. Just got hit there. I'm out of that Shop trade. We'll see what happens. GIS to start the day, a little pullback. I'll kick it to you, Ryan.
No. It's fine. I'm actually fixing up my scanner. I should be ready to go here any second. Sorry, this is taking so long.
Looking at GIS pulling back here. SPY overall down big to start the day, down towards 409.85. We talked about the 407 level being the important level there, just keeping it on the hourly outlook there for the SPY. It could pull back and then eventually find a bounce. Just be careful out there, team. Definitely seeing some stocks take a hit today, and don't want to be too crazy at the beginning. The swings looked good there in Shop. If we would have had a update into this from the CPI, yeah, we probably would have got that 50 buyout there, but we'll see what happens if it's able to bounce.
Sorry, still trying to fix this up here, folks.
Getting that downside action here in the SPY, also getting hit there. I don't know, man. It's tough. It's tough to read that number and think if you know which way it's going to go. There's a lot of people that were bullish it, and so the buy the dippers came in the pre-market. We'll look to see if we take out those lows. We went towards 408.54. That's why I'm down there towards like 407 to see if we take it out. We'll see. It definitely is getting a pullback right now. Take a look at Microsoft to see if it can stay strong. If Microsoft can stay strong, I think maybe we can hang in here. If this breaks around the 270 level, yeah, you could start letting go of some of that recent move in Microsoft.
Okay, Blue Water Vaccines, one of the first stocks that we talked about here, breaking through the VWAP and on good volume. That reminds me here, I want to address this question. SRT8 Challenger, Ryan, my man, do you use volume to identify and real move? I think you mean the real move and not a fake out move. Usually when I see a move up or down, volume has to match it. Yes, this is exactly when I say waiting for volume, I'm basically summarizing what you're asking. In this case, let's take a look at Blue Water Vaccines here. as an example. We got to move through a key level that we identified as the VWAP, and we're doing it on volume. That actually carried the move a little bit further. It looks like we are coming in now a little bit, but yes, generally speaking, definitely want to see that volume. Just because we cross a key level in either direction, that's not it, right? There's got to be something else in there. Volume is normally the telltale signal. So good stuff there. Hello, Shelly. I am back. Look, I'm silver now. I don't know what that means. Buddy was just in here screaming. I'm sorry that you missed it. Let's check on Fusion. Fusion struggling to get over its VWAP. Really need to see this actually bust above the VWAP. If these are just penny stocks down here. Actually, let me go ahead.
Let's go, team. We'll see what we got out there.
Seeing Airbnb calls come in.
Airbnb does have earnings coming up, right? Don't miss that, team.
Yes, that's today after good shout, Mitch. That is today after hours. Let's actually take a look here at the daily chart. Boy, I got some of my settings messed up here.
I want to see if UNG can hold that 850 today and start pushing towards 9. It's not having a bad little start here. We'll look to see if it pushes into the 9 handle. Remember, 10 first profit on that one. We'll see if you start getting moving.
So, Mitch, let's just because of your swing trading show, let me ask you a question here. Looking at this Airbnb chart, this is a daily chart that I generally really like. Okay, so we've really kind of found a bottom here. We've come up off the bottom, and it looks to me like we want to make the next move up here. So here would be my question. If earnings are positive here today, do you think we actually break above some of these levels? Maybe a swing trade to 125 or more on Airbnb. This setup looks intriguing, but with the binary event that is scheduled for later today, I would actually want that to get past us before we actually take a position here. So just looking for your thoughts here on Airbnb. And remember, I was kind of disconnected from this for several days, so I'm looking to you for some of the feel for what's going on here.
You got it. Look at this green line I have created there from when? That's created from May 13, 2022. I told myself I need to respect that line. It needs to get back above 123 for me to even take a look.
Okay.
And so I gave myself a line and I said, Mitch, respect that green line. When it comes back there, you can go buying again. Right now is a no.
Perfect. So right there, that gives us, this is that key level, right? That would you have that at 125? That definitely seems to be the key level. Martin here saying Airbnb put for 100. So I love that because we're talking about a potential long side breakup, and you're saying, no, if we don't actually break above that 125, look for that 100 put. That would retrace this move down here. That lines up with this support level. Martin, I like that. I like if it doesn't actually break out, here is your potential downside trade. Again, we don't know which direction it's going to move. The key is to have a plan for either moves. Good stuff there. Z Forte saying Airbnb usually goes down after a good earnings report. Interesting pattern that you have recognized there. I don't follow Airbnb enough to know if that's correct. I'm going to take your word for it on that shout there, though.
All right, looking at sound and AI, get a little bit of a jump right out the gates here. You guys know I've been looking at AI short from 28, but now it's starting to bounce back. It could get a nice little push through the 22s here, but also looking at sound for maybe a little pullback to 325 here, and maybe sound can come back towards 350. But of course, these are kind of your higher risk names. Just be careful out there. How's that BBAI? It just got towards 4. Those don't look too bad. They're recovering. Reject though. There's Microsoft coming lower. That doesn't look good there, team. We'll look to see if it cuts through the 270s. But the big stocks getting hit there. Google down, Microsoft down. Nvidia is actually into the green. We'll look to see if it swings back to the red. But definitely that's the one in the green if you're looking for one that is there. TSM bouncing a little bit there. Meta looks good there for a short. Oof, it's a tempting one. I kind of like it here.
Getting a G-Sun shout here. Take a look at G-Sun. Thank you, Jay. G-Sun, nice move. Okay, so right here, Jay, that 280 break, right? Yesterday's intraday high snap took us 20 cents higher, button up against that 3 level. Let's see if we break out from that 3 level. Actually, you know what? I don't like this stock, G-Sun. And is this Golden Sun? Is this a Chinese name? Regardless, though, this daily pattern here, kind of interesting, right? If we can actually break this to the upside, maybe we can go to 350. On G-Sun. One of the things I'd be looking for right here is going to be this trend line. If we can break that, maybe we do go higher here on G-Sun. Let me check. Golden Sun. People's Republic of China. So I'm going to pass on this. Good shout, though, because that chart looks juicy.
Short on Meta team on that little pop back towards the 178 area. Going to hold off of 178.50 here. We'll see if it comes back down towards the low of the day, towards 176. Just keep your eyes also on Microsoft. I think that's an important one. It could rebound, right? That's the in favored one. Apple's really strong too. So overall, Apple's daily chart looks strong. So we'll look to see if that can get a little bit of a bounce back. SPY now bouncing a little bit here. Just be careful around 945 if we come right back down towards the low. We went towards 409. We're still in the chop land on the hourly chart. So keep watch out there, team. A lot of things can happen.
Captain Kirk, welcome, Captain Kirk, saying grab SQQQ. So on this bounce here, Mitch is just saying how the market bouncing a little bit here. SQQQ, interestingly enough, looking at this, bounced off its pivot point here today, about 35.50. So I do like this. I do like this idea that you have here. You're going to trade some of these. Wait until they actually come back in and show a propensity to bounce here. We don't necessarily want to take these on the high. Let's take a look at SQQQ and bring this up. See if we can come up with some levels to trade this here. So again, not quite at the VWAP. It did come into the pivot. On one of my other charts here, I actually have a pivot study on. We'll see if we can, if this actually ends up gearing up here. Big thing here is as long as this stays above VWAP, probably a pretty good trade to the long side. If we come into VWAP here and maybe hover around it, you might be able to take a stab long there on SQQQ. Oh, let me go ahead and turn that watermark on. Boy, we got all types of issues here. I go out of town for a few days, Mitch, and look what happens.
Man. Rolling with it. That's all we ever can do.
Rolling with it, baby. That's what we do.
All right, keeping an eye on what's going on out there. We are getting a little bit of a bounce here in some charts, so just be careful out there as we get the bounce there.
Oh, Shelly.
SPY overall starting to get a little bit of a bounce. It's back towards 411. Remember, it could drive back there towards 414. So you got to be careful.
AMST for you penny players. Looks like that might bounce here. Blue water vaccines trying to take out the highs. I'd be careful for a pull here. 166, definitely going to be some resistance if we get up there. I suppose if we break that, maybe we can go, but just be careful here. It looks like Genus is halted. Big move here. Great shout from earlier. This was a J Wild call, right? Yeah. Oh, G-Nuss. I mixed it up, Jay Wild. You called G-Sun and G-Nuss is moving. Oh, that's criminal. That's criminal. Sorry for screwing that one up.
All right, focusing on this meta trade. It already got through there, and so I'm looking to see if it can come right back down. Want to add to this position, but we are getting Microsoft to bounce right off that 270 mark. Look where it went to 270.01. So I do think the buy the dippers came in there for Microsoft. Look to see if the SPY comes back towards the 414s. That will be that rip higher, but Microsoft trying to come back here. We'll look to see if it can get up there. With Meta, I'm just sizing in here. We'll see what happens there.
AMD bouncing. Wouldn't necessarily say it's flying here, Baruku, but definitely bouncing here. Now with the SQQQ, we did come into that VWAP, and sure enough, it looks like we are trying to bounce off that VWAP level. So here, let's see if we can, oops. Oh, I caught you that time. I'm not going to click the wrong thing. So again, came into the VWAP and bouncing. If you're going to try trading this, trading it at the VWAP or using the VWAP as the entry point would probably be all right. We have seen these kind of overshoot the VWAP, right? So if you don't want to get stopped out, one of the things that I'm going to try to work on is I've been getting stopped out a little bit too early here because I just don't feel confident in the market overall. If you're going to trade this, maybe loosen that stop up, reduce the position size. You don't have that much at risk. Good bounce here off of the VWAP. So again, SQQQ so far so good. We'll see where the market ends up going here.
A little bit slow today, man. It could be taking out a little bit there. Just being a little slow here. So trying to focus in, team. I'll let you guys know how it goes.
Guys are saying CNC. You guys got some good eyes here this morning. I love it. CNC to the
Market's
upside.
pushing here. It's through the 179 there on Meta. If it holds there, 179, I'm just going to get out. You're starting to get the push back. All right, I'm out of it. Took a hit there on Meta. Definitely not a good trade there on Meta for me today. Took a bigger hit than I was supposed to there. And a lot of that was I didn't come in it correctly for the sizing at first. Came in it and chased it a little bit there. Came in with too much sizing instead of my adding in there. And that's what cost me there on Meta. And I think it could come still back down, but I'm not going to hold through that 179. You are getting the SPY to make a little bit of a push here back towards the 411s. So I do think it could push even there back towards 414. So just be careful out there. It's going to be a lot of chop today, and you might have to sell the first move and look to not keep in for the continuation move, like just first in and out. That's what it's seeming like.
SQQQ now breaking down beneath its VWAP.
A little frustrated there on my execution there on Meta. I'm going to definitely review that trade. Had the good trade set up, just bad execution.
Ron calling out AI. Do we still have him? Oh my gosh, what a move here in AI. So here's one of the things that I'm thinking of. I'm actually using ticker AI, C3 AI, as kind of a proxy for the rest of the AI names. This shows me that if this is strong, then we should easily be able to determine relative strength in other AI names, both some of the smaller small caps that we've traded here. Let's take a look and see. Remember, SOUN, this is one that kind of threw in a PR here on AI. And look, that chart looks almost the exact same. So using AI to kind of determine the ticker AI to determine if some of these other moves might be in play here. Sure looks like that is the case here today. Let me know what other AI tickers in the chat you guys are taking a look at. I'd be curious to know what the popular trades are.
All right, there you guys getting a little lift there in Tesla towards the 198. I got my stop set, so I don't have to worry about that on Tesla, my swing short, but it does look like it is pushing strong today. I think a lot of that is the SPY moving back, right? It did the red move out the gates, now coming back to the 412s, chop land, right? Look at the hourly chart. And we could still come back there towards the resistance to the 414 area, and then we could still knock down to the 407. There's going to be a lot of chop today. And I think you won't know necessarily until the end of the day. So one thing that I don't want to do is go too crazy out the gates. I already made a mistake there with Meta, going a little bit too strong. So just going to focus in, try to let the market play out a little bit before I go crazy and jumping in here, because there's just going to be some chop.
SQQQ, big plummet here. Looks like it's got a 35 magnet in it. We'll see if it finds some support at 35. Also, shout here from the chat. Nice eye, Becca, INDI. This is Indie Semiconductor. We did have an upgrade here at B. Riley. Gave it a price target of 13. This stock looks to be putting in a pretty good move here today. So nice little 50-cent move right out of the gate here, INDI. One thing to know, if you're going to actually swing this or trade this stock does have earnings in 2 days here. So keep that in mind for whatever trade plan you have. INDI looking pretty good here this morning. Take a look at the daily chart here. This is at a breakout level, folks. This is at a breakout level. So I would say if we're able to clear this out, or we're able to have a multi-day run here, 10 looks to come down. Remember, $12 was the price target it was just given. Good eye here. This was not on my radar. Looks good.
Looks of the good. General Mills swing, team, break even on that one. Could be getting stop hunted right now. It just went to 76 right on the dot there. Stopped me out there. So lost like a couple cents there, a couple pennies there. Gave myself a chance for it to come back. These are kind of swings where it needs to go in our favor, right? And it did go in the pre-market. That's where it's more along. Are we going to take those profits in the pre-market? We might need to set up to do that on days like today with the CPI report. We'll see what happens there on GS.
Big bounce here in a power candle on the 5-minute on the SPY and on the Qs. Let me go ahead and load that up here.
Genius brands.
That was off the scanner, but one of the things that I was taking a look at here is this, right? This power candle right back to VWAP. Now, the thing that we're noticing here, volume is dying off here. So let's see if this picks up at all or where this settles. The cat's looking at me like I'm crazy. What's going on, man? Why don't you come up here and say hi to everybody? No, he's not interested in that. Okay. Back to it. So SPY here hanging at VWAP. It'll be interesting to see if we keep moving here, or is this it for this particular move?
All right, leveling in some orders for the Genius trade. Genius brands. All right, team. So I'm layering in here towards 415, 410, and 4. So if we can get a quick move here off that, I'm going to look to see if the 380s holds there at 384s, look for it to come back up towards 475. Of course, this is kind of definitely a high risk type of trade. You guys definitely can know that one. We'll see what happens. First entry got hit 415s.
Voodoo saying SQQQ had a wick that touched 34, so you might retest 34 here. Yeah, it's going to depend on this bounce, right? We're currently right at VWAP on the SPY. So if this bounce continues and we continue to trade higher, I think you're probably right. I think we do go down to 34 or try to retest it. However, SPY looks like it's really kind of hanging in here. So we're going to wait to see what the next move is. I like this at 35, honestly. I might even try a reduced position here. Let's see. On SO or an SQQQ. I like this idea here. We just bounced 10 cents. Yeah, I like this.
SPY working its way, trying to get back towards 413, 414. We'll look to see if we get up there.
I'm going to wait. I'm actually going to try and be patient here and see if this comes back in closer to 35. And here we go. God, I'm glad I didn't just take it there at 35.20. There goes 10 cents right away. Come on, let's come in here closer to 35 and see where we settle out. Market's still looking strong, looking like we're going to go higher here on the SPY, which means lower on the other. There we go. There's your snap of 35. This is one of the reasons. Love it when we're patient and it works out. Now I'm going to be stalking entry for SQQQ. If we can't break what the highs of yesterday on the SPX, which is about 41.38, currently about 5 points beneath that, I think maybe we could roll over here a little bit. I'm going to try a little bit here on SQQQ. Stop 35.75. Excuse me, 34.75. Jeez, that would have been bad.
All right, team was only able to get one entry there on Genius, which was the 415s. Now we'll look to see what happens there. If it can get a little higher towards the 450 area, starting to get a little bit of a push there. I need to give me some more fills though, because I only got like a really small position in right now.
Okay, so we're looking for, or trade on now here, looking for a market rollover. We'll see if we get it. Again, stop here going to be 34.75 if we don't get that rollover. I'd love to see this push closer to 35.75 or even 36 on a market rollover here on SQQQ. That is what we are watching here.
Doesn't look too bad for me on the at least a 3 minute. You have a turnaround level look. I'd like to let it test 35s there on that look that you're looking at, Ryan. It does look interesting there. Would want to see maybe the double 5 minute close, right? And so if it closes right there towards 35 on the 5 minute basis, it'll be looking good. That's at 9:55. We'll see if that candle closes there.
Yeah, see, and the thing is right now, I'm not sure it's picked a direction, right? We've kind of hovered around this 35 level. We actually dropped beneath it. I'm showing prints here at 34.97, but we didn't stay down there very long. Real quick, while we're waiting for this to materialize and just to borrow a Zunaidism, to see what it wants to do with its life, let's check in on INPX here. Wally asking here, Ryan, can you check INPX? So INPX here, what's interesting, let's get rid of that. What's interesting here is a nice little move on a volume spike. Now we've maintained above the VWAP here, but let's see if we can actually break that pre-market high. I am not necessarily on this one. The daily chart here looks really, really bad. This for me would just be a scalp, Wally, but I'm currently looking at something else right now. It's got a little bit more volume. Let's go back to SQQQ because this is working from 3503 entry. We're currently at 3531. Let's go looking for a little 40 cents more on this before we start taking our gains. We'll see if we end up getting there. If we get above 3550, what I'm going to do is raise my stop a little bit. That way, if it comes back in, maybe I'll get closed out near flat, but I'll have a little bit of gain and I won't even have to take a small loss at this point. Target here, again, 35.75, maybe even 36 if we can roll over.
Not a bad outlook when you see Microsoft come back below the VWAP, right? Talked about how that's an important level to watch. 270s today. We went down there. There was buy the dippers right earlier. Will they find the buy the dippers again? We'll see what happens there in Microsoft.
Voodoo, my sentiments exactly. This might work. One of the reasons you don't trust it there. That's actually one of the reasons I reduced position size just a little bit here and also extended that stop. I don't feel great about it. First trade back after a long break. I don't need to try to be a hero here today. That's not going to benefit anybody. So we'll see if this works here. Coming back in a little bit on the SQQQ, but we're still hoping for that bounce.
SPY hanging in there. We'll look to see if the SPY can get back below the VWAP. That's the 412 area. No more fills there for Genius. I'm still having the orders out there to try to get filled on pullbacks, but it's just hanging out.
Bitcoin, big pop here this morning. So that should put the Bitcoin names on here. Now we're beneath 35 here. So SQQQ knifing here. Let's see if I end up getting stopped out of this. Again, not trusting it. To Voodoo's point about not trusting it, when you don't have that conviction, the first thing that you should do, if you still want to try and take that idea, is reduce that position size. Don't go into something you don't trust with too much. Right now, I've kind of lightened up, so the fact that this is going against me and making me look like a punk isn't really that bad. Are we going to get stopped out? Come on, SQQQ, bounce. Give me a successful trade. Sorry.
You're good. SPY trying to push a little bit there. Google trying to reverse off the 94s. Microsoft back towards the VWAP here. VWAP a lot of the times is going to represent average volume price, right? And so the average price on the day also with volume weighed in. So it doesn't necessarily say bullish or bearish. It used to be more of a buy or sell signal off that, but I would say K-Chat, too many people are using the VWAP now, and it's starting to lose a little bit of its edge if everybody's looking at it, right? Once everybody starts looking at a strategy, I can tell you right now, it loses its edge a lot of the times.
So I'm, despite this actually giving 34.75 prints, I am still in. We'll see if we bounce here. The interesting thing to note here about that widened stop, well, here we come back in. Let's see if we end up closing it.
Pushing strong on the day, that's for sure. AMD pushing strong on the day. Apple now trying to hold the VWAP, now starting to push back. Apple's chart does look bullish. We'll look to see if it gets back into the green and holds it. Up about 0.4 from the open. Microsoft trying to come back through that 272 on the upside action. We'll look to see if it does do that move. SPY is just stair-stepping its way up. Buy the dippers coming in this morning on the first dip in the market.
And there we go. Stopped out there at 34.75 that time, and looks like it's trying to go lower here. So down 0 for 1 here today. But again, we kind of identified we weren't really feeling great about that. So as a response, we reduced the position size, keep those losses small. That's going to be the tactic here. It's going to be whippy today, says Captain Kirk. You got that right. It is going to be whippy.
Yep, I can see a push to 414.50s and then the turnaround. 415s is the important level to watch, I think, for the upside breakout.
And for SQQQ now, one of the things I'm going to be watching is something that Voodoo talked about earlier. Maybe we retest those lows at 34. We'll see what happens if we do get down to that test. We're only 65 cents away at this point. Let's see if we end up getting a bounce at 34. Remember, we can always rebuy this if we want to play that. So Voodoo, next level here is the level that you have identified. That's what we're looking at.
Carvana trying to make its way back there. AI pulling back. Didn't get to the VWAP, but 22 is an important level for that to hold. We'll look to see what happens on that one. Sound trying to go through the 360s. Keep an eye out on that one. It could just roll through. Another one that I'm looking at. Let's go through some of these. Technology leading. All this was red to start the day. Now starting to come back. So just keep that in mind. And of course, cyclical names, the high beta names, having a good day today. You guys can keep your eyes on those stocks.
And PLTR is nice eye again. Becca, remember PLTR from our list here. One of the things that happened is right out of the open, we broke down, right? So took it off the screen. Now it does look like it's kind of found at least a intraday bottom or found some support here around 830. We've traded back up to the VWAP here. We are seeing a little bit of increased volume. One of the things that I'd like to see here is maybe a test and then a retest and break of the VWAP. That would give me a little bit more conviction. If we can pair that, with an increased volume or a volume pop here, that would be good for alongside trade 2 on Palantir. So we'll keep this on the back burner. No position on Palantir as of right now. We'll see if this does set up for us here. Still watching this QQQ, by the way.
I'm frustrated, Ryan. Shopify, man. Oh, you guys want to know where I got stopped out? Literally 2 cents away from the low print on the day. This is where we'd be taking profits, 50s right now on Shop. That's a little frustrating, team. Should have been able to hold towards the original risk. Just got a little picky this morning. Original risk had it down there towards 47.41, 47.40. Changed my risk towards 48 for the yesterday's low. And then it's back up towards 50.25s. Would have been a nice swing trade. Bad execution on that swing.
Folks, the moves here today, the 2 good moves on some of these smaller caps, the Bitcoin names, was focused on the real market as opposed to the Bitcoin market. I mean that endearingly. I don't mean that as an insult. Was not paying attention to that huge pop in Bitcoin. Gave a great move on both Riot and Riot and Mara right through the VWAP here. So nice move here, about a 40-cent move, 35-cent move here on Riot. If you're able to take those, I'm not in these. I was focused on something else. Shame on me. Tesla at the highs here. So that was some of the strength earlier that you were talking about, Mitch. Looks like we got even more there on Tesla as we continue to move towards the highs. Look at that move right through 200. 200 calls were the move here today out of the open.
All right, just got one more filled there on Genius. Now average 413. We'll see what happens if it can hold 4. I have one more order, 2 more orders to fill there for 398s. Then got a hold there towards the bottom action of 383s. Coin is ripping. Looks like risk off right now is how it is. How did you sell that shop move? It was a stop. That's what happened there, Rando. I think I just got stop hunted. So that's how it happens. A lot of times with my swing trade, when I have swing trades on and I'm focusing on day trading, I have to put stops because if not, that's how I get crushed and I'm not paying attention to the positions. But a lot of the times what I want to do is put more like a stop limit order and put that limit order about 10 cents away from that stop trigger. This is what I didn't do on this one that I'm going to go ahead and try to adjust. Hey, it happens, team. We're never going to be perfect. One thing I will do is admit when I make mistakes. How did you see it? What do you mean? See the shop move? Like what was I looking for in shop? Well, yesterday, one thing that I could clearly see in shop is that it had pulled back towards the 48 support. You had 3 kind of bottoming actions around there. And so yesterday I was just looking at, okay, so if we can get back through Friday's high 49.15s, we'd be looking good for a 50 move and maybe back here towards the 54.50 move back towards the high. I wanted to take some profits at 50 and then look for that move all the way up there towards the high on that daily. We'll see what happens.
AMD, whoever shouted AMD earlier, I can't remember. I apologize. Someone mentioned AMD earlier. Nice move here on AMD. Real quickly, before I flip over to AMD, this is Hyper HYPRs, came off the relative volume scanner. We took out the pre-market high of 142. We're currently sitting right there. Next level I have is yesterday's pre-market high of 166. So a potential 24-cent move in between these two key levels. We do have a volume pop here today. I think if you get any more volume on this, might be able to take a stab at this. Let's go ahead and take a look at AMD, a little bit bigger stock, more of a blue chip here. Again, this just shadowing the move that we saw in Tesla as well as the Qs, right? A little bit of kind of a sell-off out of the open, and then bam, huge bounce here. This is what ended up stopping me out of the SQQQ trade. Looks like some of these names moving higher here. The question is, where is the top on this? Where does this move stop? Speaking of swing trade, Mitch, pretty decent chart here on AMD. If you think technology is going higher here, nice little potential chart. We popped up to right about $89, I think. Yeah, just about $89. Come back into 80. Looks like we're trying to go challenge that. Let's see if we break out above 90 here on AMD. As far as SQQQ goes, we're down at 34.35 right now. We're still waiting for that 34 level that Voodoo gave us earlier here today. Let's see what that test is going to bring, and are we actually able to trade that spot? See a couple of people mentioning iron.
Oh man, a little frustrated today. Definitely not executing on the planned attacks, things like that. Just a little bit all over the place today. And you guys can see it, right? You guys see me all over the place today. I think I was doing better when I was by myself and just with the chaos. But now I don't have. No, but the best part is, Ryan.
You want me out of here, Mitch? I can take a hint if that's what you want.
No, if anything, now you're taking the lift off of me, and I'm getting more confused. That's when it can. That's how it can happen, right? That's trading for you.
That is trading for you.
In pre-market prep, I said maybe look for Palantir. 50% retracement of the move on the spike put us back towards 822. This went to 823, bounced off of that, back towards 870s here. Palantir getting to buy the dippers on that pullback, 50% retracement, right back up there to the 870s. I'll look for a pullback on it. I've already missed it, but hey, that's just how it is sometimes. And I agree, Richard. Take it slow, right? Not in the zone right now. Definitely not in the zone.
Jay Wild, right? Let me make sure I got the right one there. Yeah, Jay Wild shouting out IREN here. So IREN moving with that Bitcoin move, right? This is a Bitcoin mining play, really kind of following along the Bitcoin chart here. So add this to the Mara and Riot. Those are the ones we often watch. IREN making a move here as well. Kirk, you're asking about Yang, right? So Yin and Yang, these are going to be the technology ETFs. These are the levered Chinese ETFs. This is a trading vehicle only, right? This is not something that I would advise that you swing. With my adverse opinion of China and wanting to stay away from those stocks entirely, I too don't trade Yang and Ying. That doesn't mean that it can't work. It doesn't mean that I'm right. It's just the way that I've handled this here. So these are going to be your levered ETFs. These should be liquid enough for you to get in and out of. But again, these are going to mirror some of those Chinese markets. That's something I put on the back burner. Don't have anything else to give you, my man.
Jim asking a question if I have a category on TC about AI, and it does not. That's something more that you would have to create a watch list, because AI is not an industry. AI is more of something that's a part of certain industries. You're going to see it in software. You're going to see it in software infrastructure, software applications, and you're also going to see it in information systems. Like let's say Microsoft, right? Is a software infrastructure name. You look at AI, information technology services, right? So ITS, right? You look at sound, application. So those are the areas that it's going to be in. So you have to create more of a watch list, an AI watch list, if you want to have that advantage. And if you do, looks like the happy hour has been working that. And where you get the happy hour?
Yep.
Pro, man.
I've got one. So let me actually see. Let me go ahead and close this down. Let's get a watch list open up here. I'll show you the tickers that I have here. I don't think I can copy and paste them into the chat for you. Let's see, AI automation. So this is the list. Yeah, I don't think I can do this. I'm probably missing some. This was a communal list that was built by our happy hour crew to kind of watch some of these different AI names. I don't think I can paste this in the chat, Mitch, but I'm going to try. So I
No worries.
apologize. If
Sounds
this
good. Get that in the chat there. I want to point out the SPY trying to get through that hourly resistance that we talked about in the pre-market, right? Now we're getting right back up there, but we essentially still haven't created that bottoming action. And you can maybe put it back here towards maybe the 408.80s, and we've already touched that on the wick, but that's a little bit tough because it was definitely algorithmic volume that was there. So we'll look to see right now, do we get to the 415 or do we reject up here in the 414.30 areas? That's where I would look for the rejection. Right now, we've had a high of 414.37. Let's see if we get through that.
And I tried to paste all of those tickers into the chat, and it didn't go well. Put them all in there with no comma, no space. So sorry about that. Let me know if you need that again. We'll probably add to this list, so this list will continue to grow. So you're not necessarily missing anything. Let me know if you had any questions about what is actually on that list. I'd be happy to go back to it. But lol, that's pretty funny.
All right, now team, I am added into Genius. I have an average at 406 there for Genius. I'm gonna look for the big rip. Of course, this is a high risk trade, team. I've been averaging in. My average is 406, so not mad at all with my average. Now I just need to hold towards the risk and see what happens.
So one thing to note here, we are almost at that. Well, a couple of things to note here real quick. First of all, SOUN, we're kind of in this range, right? We've kind of popped up into this range. Really, let's say 345 to 360 seems to be the consolidation area. The one thing that's got me worried a little bit here is you can see the volume dying off just a bit. Let's see if that picks up at all here. Nice little pop on SOUN. The other thing I want to take a look at here is going to be SQQQ, right? Already taken one L on this here today, but we played it pretty smart. We were pretty safe about how we were actually trading that. What's going on? Chart load for me. Come on. Trying to make a point here. So the 34 is going to be the next level that we're actually looking at here, right? A 34 test. One of the things that's interesting here is that the first resistance level based on the pivot points today for the S&P 500 we're at right now. So maybe we slow down here. Maybe we get a little bit of a curl here on SQQQ and don't quite get down to that 34 handle. If that is the case, entry trigger is going to be a move above clearing out this consolidation area. So I'd be looking at about 34.43, right? In fact, let me go mark that here so I don't have to do this again. 34.43 looks to be that level. We can take that back out, especially if we get any type of volume flow in here. Maybe we go higher on SQQQ. Going to be watching the SPX or the S&P 500 for signals on that.
Oil coming back. You could see XOM pushed up towards 117.50s. Just keeping an eye on that to see what happens there. Now we'll look to see if I get that spike there in Genius. We'll look to see if we get it or not, right? And it could go, could not. AI overall just bounced there back towards almost new intraday highs towards 2260s. Let's look to see if it takes off there.
Okay, huge breakout here.
Oh, sorry. 414.83s. You're good. What you got?
I was going to say, Voodoo was saying that they're consolidating SQQQ here around 34.30. Actually, as we were saying that, we actually plunged beneath that here. So went to that 34 level. I have a low print here of 34.07, so only 7 cents away from that particular level. Looks like that's going to break. Let's see where this, no bottom here yet on SQQQ. No bottom yet. Let's wait for the bottom to form before we take that next trade or that next potential trade. I don't necessarily want to catch a falling knife, especially starting the day off 0 for 1 on this particular ticker. I want to make sure that I wait for a higher probability setup before taking it. We'll see if we end up getting it here. 34 looks on deck here, SQQQ.
415's coming into play. Now I'm going to be looking for reversal action to come into play. If it does pop through, let's say 416, that's where you got to be careful, Bears, that this could start pushing strong.
A lot of strength in a lot of names. Square, Tyson, Amazon, Apple, Tesla, even Goldman Sachs joining the party here. So a lot of names looking pretty strong on this move up. Let's see if this continues here. Kirk, just FYI, we don't have VIX feeds in Pro here, so you won't see me pull that up on my screen. I do.
Yeah, I don't even have it on my, like, just to give you guys an outlook too. I don't have it on TC 2000 either.
Yeah, I watch the VIX chart in my broker. Really, it's just key levels for me on VIX. It seems anytime we really get into an 18 handle, we seem to want to bounce the next day. Your current read right now, 1887 on the VIX. So maybe a little bit more room down if today continues to be a strong day. But I don't necessarily watch it intraday every day. I kind of just make note of where that level is. You're not going to see it pulled up here on the screen, though, although we will watch it. Just keep it in mind.
All right, going to look for the SQQQs to start creating that bottoming outlook. We're starting to do that off the 34s. We just bounced there to 34.26. Right when I started talking about topping, it looks like we got a little bit of action there. Did the SPY pull back from 415s? Yes, right on the dot. So let's go ahead and try to get into this SQQQ on pullbacks. I like it now. Definitely just looking for pullbacks, right? So I'm going to put around 314.15s, 314.10s, 304.02s. It shouldn't go back through. So we could get a test down there. Don't want to jump into 34.30s because I feel like I'm chasing, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so that really just credit Voodoo on SQQQ here, Mitch, because this recent move down, I have low print of 34.02. He was talking about a 34 test, 2 cents away. We've already bounced 28 cents off of that low. Currently at 34.30 here. We'll see if we end up clearing this out. I kind of want to wait this out. It would have been awesome to buy that low print, but didn't quite get down to 34 here. So we're going to practice what we just talked about. We're going to make sure that this move isn't going to fake us out into another stopped out trade. We want to see if this can actually build and then move higher.
Stacked in the orders here for the SQQQ. We'll look to see if we get it or not. Genius testing down there, so I got to be smart. Can't let it crack 380s.
JP Morgan looking good here today.
All right, we'll look to see if we get these SQQQ fills on pullbacks. Looks like I got first entry 34.18s. Looking to add there 34.10, 34s, 33.96. First entry on.
Yo, it happened, fam. It happened. HYPR gave you the trade when we were hovering right around 142. Look at the nasty. Okay, so let's analyze exactly what happened here, because this is the type of stuff that we're going to see on a regular basis. If you become fast enough, you're going to be able to capture these moves. Remember, when we were talking about hyper, we were talking about it right here at that 142 level. It was consolidating right above 142. We identified the next key level, or next key upside level here, but look what they did. They flushed it first, brought it all the way down to 131, taking out all of the weak hands. So anyone that's trying to trade right around this key level, or get their entry around that key level and has a tight stop, guess what happened to them? They got absolutely flushed. Reminds me of Men in Black 2 when J and K get flushed. Yeah, back every weekend I used to say, "Flush me, Jay, flush me." I'd be like, nah. Well, what happened here is we end up getting flushed and then right back through that 142, right up to that key level. Amazing trade here if you're actually able to take that. Hugh got the volume that we really need for a potential entry trigger there. But that just the pullback right before the move up, man, we've seen that a whole bunch of times. This is going to be really, really key for identifying some of these different key levels. If you can figure out where those key levels are, you can end up coming up with a trade plan here. Hyper next leg. Let's see if we end up pulling. Let's see if we do the same thing, right? Let's see if we pull back, find a bottom, and then boom, right through 166 for the next leg up.
Didn't get my additional entries there on the SQQQs, but starting to see the SPY top out there. So I could jump and try to chase a little bit here. There's a little bit of a pullback here. Let's see if I get another fill. Looking for a little bit of a test down closer towards the 34s and then the reversal from the SPY. We'll look to see if we get it or not. Microsoft earlier at 270. Wow, those was some buy the dippers there, man. Remember we talked about the 270 level? It went to 270.01. Now it's back to 274. Just shows us that, yeah, there's some bulls in Microsoft right now. You can see it on the chart. It's trying to get through a daily level of 276.76.
By the way, it looks like Moynihan on TV on CNBC here. They're Bank of America having a conference. CEO is discussing the Fed, inflation, and more. So we might see some movement from those. If we go back to hyper here real quick. There we go. If we go back to hyper here real quick, let's plan for the next move, right? This big move from 142 to 166 is done. Awesome if you're able to take that. If we break above this 166, I got the next spot here at 209. Maybe we find a little resistance in the middle there, but 209 looks to be the next spot here on hyper. So HYPR looking pretty good here. Good shout, Jay. This was you were on this from the morning. Good stuff.
Chased a little bit there, added a little bit in SQQQ at 34.23s. You guys know I'm not on point today, just giving it out there, but just focusing, right? Just right now, I still have some orders that I can fill on pullbacks. Got 34.23 as the average. We'll look to see if we can get pushed a little bit higher. Let me see. I think my average, my entry was 34.27 there. I was wondering why my average was a little bit higher than I expected. And I got an offer fill there at the 27. We'll look to see if it comes back towards 34s to add, but really starting to see, I want to see the SPY put in a double top here at 415. That's the candle that is right now. If it can close there, that's the 1020 candle. We got about 1 minute left here. You look to the left, you can see this right here. I'm looking to see if this can close below 415. That will give me a little bit more feeling for that reversal back down.
SQQQ trying here. It is trying. SQQQ trying to bounce. Okay, really quickly, I do want to outline one. Carmen.
Got it.
Good to see you again, Carmen, saying, guys, have a look at Cala. So taking a look at Cala, a couple of things to notice here. First of all, the chart looks bad. Just straight up bad. We're in no man's land. So you can see we've identified a number of these different levels from the last time this put its huge move on. We've done nothing but break down here. To me, I don't really see any type of level here that's of any significance. Maybe $10. Maybe $10. You had mentioned here that it's ripe for a squeeze. Well, if I flip over to the short interest tab here, sure, 17% of the float is shorted as of February 10th, 4 days ago. However, with a tenth of a day to cover, I don't know. I don't know. This, you could cover these shorts up fairly easily, even at this lofty number. And you can actually see that the percent float was actually cut in half just about from the last print that we got at the middle of January. So traded it on your own plan there, Carmen. For me, I'm going to avoid this. I would not be waiting for any type of squeeze on this with such a small days to cover on this short interest here. Just my 2 cents.
All right, looking at right now, if I'm going to get short NVIDIA off 227 here, this is very quick trading, just looking for a reversal back to the mean. This would be a reversion of the mean trade. So let's see if it gets a little bit of a bounce here, comes back towards the high, and then comes right back down towards the VWAP.
Mitch, are you long SQQQ?
Yes.
Oh, Mitch is going to show you folks how the trade is done. I took an L on it, but my man Mitch here about to get some bank.
Yeah, and really it's all going to be about that double top there, the 415 double top on the SPY. Look at that.
Yeah.
If we can get through there, well, the bulls could take recontrol, right? But if that keeps topping there on the 415s, we can come right back to 412.75. And I feel like we're just going to get a choppy type of day where we get these up, down moves. So we got to be quick to profits. We'll see what happens. I
was going to say, one of the things that I walked away from my trade thinking was, well, you know, if I actually did get like a 25-cent bounce in there, but because I reduced my position size, I wanted more of a move to the upside, didn't get it. Might still be in that environment where if you get gains, just kind of take them and wait for another setup. This one looking good here. By the way, IREN, which is one of the ones we just talked about. Mitch, I'm going to go right back to you here, so don't go anywhere. IREN here looks to be between this area, right? This $2.69, nice, and also $3 area. Looks like it's trying to curl off this $2.69. Let's see if we make a move towards 3. No position in IREN, but wanted to shout that out from earlier. I believe that was a Jay Wild call from earlier. Let's go back to Mitch's screen and watch him.
Got so many trades going on right now, and maybe you should take it a little bit slower. I know that someone in the chat even told me to take it slower. We can always help each other out, team. It's okay to be giving advice to each other. The key is always understand your thinking, right? So right now I'm going for something. We'll see what happens, right? SQQ upside, NVIDIA come down, still got Genius for the upside break through 4. If that could break out through 4 again, get to 425, 450s, I'll be looking great in that Genius trade. Still got the swing trade on UNG and Tesla, but stops can take care of that. Don't have to worry about those. UNG is in the green from the open, so that doesn't look too bad. Tesla, of course, coming back towards my entry, but I have the stop way above there, so we'll look to see what happens right now.
Good stuff. By the way, I like your UNG. I like your nat gas swing. By the way, not in it, but like that nat gas swing. Let's do something for old time's sake here, Mitch. What do you think? Let's figure out. Let's ask Mr. 8 Ball if the SQQQ is going higher than where it's at here today. So I'm going to go ahead and go full screen just for a sec here, folks. We are going to ask the Magic 8 Ball, perhaps one of the best traders out there, is SQQQ going to go higher today than 34.50? That's the level. Higher than 34.50. So Magic 8 Ball. Okay, microphone, give me some space here. Magic 8 Ball, is SQQQ going to close higher than 34.50 today? Let's see what it says. What is? Can't read it. Concentrate and ask again. So the 8 Ball is still asleep here today, not doing its job, not giving us a reading here. I guess we're going to have to ask again. 8 Ball, you got to stop doing that, man. You got to stop sitting on the fence. Make a call one way or the other.
Right? Make a call. Make a call.
Mitch, you and I have no trouble making calls. We have no, even if we're wrong, we're still out there making calls. I wish this 8 Ball would make some better calls there.
The 8 Ball's broken, says Captain Kirk.
We shall see. Looking at this SQQQ, though, by the way, IREN, really quick, we just talked about it. Literally, all I had to do was talk about it to give it a kiss of death. IREN breaking down beneath this 269. For me, I really want to see this kind of settle somewhere. We're below the VWAP. We're building below the VWAP. A little knife there on IREN. Let's go back to the SQQQ trade. This one sure looks like this one's higher to me, Mitch. That 1 minute chart looks like we're actually going to push higher here on SQQQ.
Just stopped out of that NVIDIA. It was a really small, tight trade there off the 227.20s. Just got popped out of that. It's really small on that one, so not stressing too much on that loss. Definitely taking 2 hits today on the day trades. So we'll see if the SQQQ can get it all back. But right now, it's all about that double top on 415 for the SPY. The left chart here, we'll look to see if we get it through that 415. That's where you could get the breakout to the upside. We'll see what happens. Genius. What's going on, man? You're going to give me that 4 pop at least? Maybe I catch one of these smaller names today and it makes it back for me. Who knows? Genius to the left here. I'm going to make it small, and then I'm going to put the SPY in the middle because I think that's definitely important to watch right now to see if it gets back through that 415 or not. It's one of those days, man. I got to say, it started the day, everything was in the green on the swing trades. So just got to work a little bit better getting ready for the open. It's difficult. I will tell you that, team, to do kind of pre-market prep, get to live trading, have the right mentality before the open. It's not the easiest thing. Just got to keep improving. All right. SQQQ looks enticing. Yes, it does. That's why I'm in it, Quantum, because it's enticing. We'll look to see what happens there. The battle's on right now, team. The battle is on. Just got to pull back again on the SQQQ. What do you see now on that 1 minute now? This is where you got to be kind of looking at it. You can see how you got into having this kind of trend back up, right? But where's it getting, where's it battling? 3440s, 3450 area. That's where we want to see it get back above and start closing above that on like a 5-minute basis if we're really going to get that push back towards VWAP. VWAP is all the way up there to 3509. So if this really could get moving, it wouldn't be too bad of a risk and reward. Let's see if it gets actually moving here.
3443 is that spot it's got to take out for my money, Mitch, here. It looks like it's trying to do that. Here we go. We're getting a bid under it here. Mitch, man, you really crushed this. What a trade.
Well, the big thing was, remember how earlier I talked about how I wasn't going with my planned approach? This one was more of the planned approach, right? I went back to the plan. The plan was the hourly resistance coming into play, right? And going into chop. Well, we went through that 414 towards 415, then started seeing the double top action. And that's what the level that I went off of. Like always, you never know if it's going to top out there. The only thing you can do is go off of some levels and sometimes just take a reassessment. What were you looking in the pre-market? How's the market reacting? And are we going to get a little bit of a pullback? Looks like we're getting a little bit more chop. We could be stuck between 415 and 410 all day long.
We are up 40 cents off that low print on the SQQQ, right? Actually, we went 3402. We are up 51 cents off that nice move here on the SQQQ. Bam, big volume too. Big volume stick right there. Big push up to 35.58. I'll say this, we're up over 50 cents now from that move, but this is me. If I am still in this I'm taking some of it off right here. Lock in some of those gains. I guess a lot depends on your position size. If you want all of the gains because you don't have a lot, take it and wait for a setup here. Nice move here on volume on the SQQQ. We'll see where we go here. I got as high as 34.60 on this move up, Mitch. Great job.
Canceling the ads. I had ads layered in there. If it would have got pullbacks, I would have just got filled. This is why I like going in the approach of just like sizing in and leveling there, because yeah, I could have taken some more, right? On any pullback, I would have got some fills there on SQQQ and they would have got me a better average, right? But I went in there and just tried to keep working it. And definitely, Sydney, where my bread and butter is, I try to tell you guys, it's definitely swing trading, team. That's where I'm better at. In day trading, I try to do my best. I have moments where I do really good and then moments where I struggle to find some consistency. And a lot of times when I've looked back at my day trading, I've been slightly green, just slightly, not enough to really even like pull out profits and celebrate it with. Swing trading, now that's where I've seen where I've been like, man, I could actually do this consistently. If there's anything that I would push further and further into, at least in my own trading, it's more swing trading.
Yeah, I would too. And Mitch, I am going to, like I've been saying for a while, I'm going to try to make a more of an effort this year to get into some of that swing trading. Voodoo saying, Ryan, LOL, I love TA. Yeah, technical analysis. But yes, this is great. And you actually really had it called perfectly. You had said you want to retest 34. We got down to 34.02. That's pretty good in my book. That was the spot, right? I took this too early. Mitch was more patient. You're seeing patience win out. Overtaking things a little bit too early. That is going to be common. We talk a lot here about kind of waiting the first 15 minutes, sometimes the first half hour. Wait for the market to get its fake move out of the way before actually trading it. In this case here, patience is paying, and we're getting a nice move here in SQQQ. We were all on this. We've been talking about this. I traded it poorly. Mitch traded it really well. Got a nice trade on our hands here. So really good stuff here. Mitch, the comments here are pretty crazy. Mitch is a genius trader swinger. So Mitch, looks like you're being noted as a swinger now. How do you feel about that, my man?
No pineapples here, man. No pineapples. All right, let's keep it going. It's Valentine's Day, right? No pineapples here.
Okay. I need a sec, Mitch. That
All right, let's keep it going, team. We'll see what else is going on. There's the move I was looking for, says Ashton. We'll see what else is going on. Swinging is the style, Carmen. We'll see what happens. What are you up to on that SQQQ? Up from 34.23, now 34.82. In the 34.90 area, I'm going to take majority of it off and then look to see if it can keep working. I was fighting myself not to add to Tesla, But I'm going to work on that Genius trade. Can we get the pop above 4s? We're back towards 4 on Genius. We'll look to see if we get it there. There's a nice little move there in the SQQQ. Going to take some off right here. Not going to fight the 90. I took it right there, 87. Took majority of it off there at 87. We'll see what happens there. If it gets into the 90s, it's not going to give me too much of a difference here. But now what I can do is I can leave the rest break even 34.23 to let it work above that 35, going back here towards kind of the middle of the pricing. But one thing to keep in mind, if the SPY gets back to VWAP, we could bounce there. So we're right now going back to that VWAP. We just hit it, 412.80s. It could hold there. Let's see if it comes back towards the 410. And are we just going to see this up and down move, up and down move? Even if we get back there towards like 412, 411, 410, I'm going to be taking profits versus thinking that we get a big breakdown, because we haven't gotten that lately. That's for sure. All right, we'll see what else is going in there. At least was able to take some profits there. We'll keep pushing forward. All right, what else is being called out there? Patience does pay, like always, team. One of the things you want to be having, especially if you notice that you're not in the zone, just have some patience. Wait.
This is the exact move that I was hoping for, right? 50 cents to $1 travel on some of these very liquid ETFs. You could do that all of the time. That's exactly what I was looking for. We have 34.02 to 34.88 right now, 86 cents move. At this point, I would have already taken some of those gains if I hadn't been stopped out on my losing trade here. Great job here on SQQQ. Patience definitely paid. Now, as far as other stocks being called out, Mitch, FUSN, JWile all over this again here. FUSN really actually looking like a potential move here. So if we bring up my screen, one of the things that we're looking at here is this intraday top, right? This 460 area. We've butt up 1, 2, 3 times, and with another time being a fourth attempt here. I think if you move through 460 here with this type of volume spike, or even bigger would be better. In this case, if we move through 460 here, might get a scalp here on FUSN. Good shout, Jay. This is setting up. Let's see, though, every time that we've tried to break this level, the thing is knifed back. So unsure if we actually want to buy a break here. Anyway, let's see what's going on here. FUSN, keep this one on watch.
All right, team, want to give you guys a little bit of a preview. What will be coming up is that AB has been trying to do more and more into the trading action. Yes, you guys hear me out there. All 500 of you guys, check out some trading interviews that AB will be going through. He's going to be talking to David Green, DG, of course. Don't miss that. That's going to be 11:30. Then at 12, there'll be another interview. My man AB trying to get you guys the action that's going on. And look at the SPY. Look at that push. There we go. Right back down. Double top at the 415s. Back down towards the 412s. Got up there on the SQQs to 35.17. Let's see if we can get up towards like the 30 area, and then I'll run towards the profits there for the SQQQ trade.
And this one from that low print that we talked about, remember Voodoo gave that to you twice, right? Talked about wanting that 34 retest multiple times here today before it materialized. This is why our community is the tops. This is why we are growing. And yeah, I'd like to echo what Chiffon is saying here. Hit the likes, folks. 500 people in here, only 136 likes. We gave you a plan before the market. The community chimed in during the market. Mitch took a trade that I lost on, and we're still able to turn that into a lesson and some profit here. Awesome stuff. We are up over $1 move on the SQQQ from where we talked about that entry being. Once I got stopped. Are you ringing that register, Mitch?
Boom! Landed it. Boom shakalaka. You know it, team. We out. Got out there at the 35.30s. And shout out to in the chat there. They called out the 35.31 level. I actually started looking more at that level, and that's how we can help each other out. It was AutoKen. He said 35.30. Literally, I hit it at 35.30. I looked to the left, and I could see this kind of resistance right there. And I could see that we could slow down there. Doesn't necessarily mean that we can't break through that level, but I also know that the SPY has just been chop, chop, chop. So I'd rather take some profits into these moves than look for it to come back towards 34.50 and then just be like, oh, man, why did I not take profits? Day like today, I'm just trying to bounce back. That puts me right now just slightly red on the day. And that goes to show me what? Bad risk to return on that first meta trade, team. I should be back into the green on this one trade. We always got to learn, right? And I'm going to be honest with you guys. That was a bad trade on meta. I opened up too big sizing, didn't understand the risk there, and was not a good execution trade. And that's how simply, if you stick to the right profit and loss ratio, you can get back into the green. But the moment you go off of that and you start ruining that, well, that's an easy way to go back to the point where even if you get a good trade, you don't go back into the green, right? We got to keep mathematical probability in our favor, and that's what matters. All right, let's keep going.
As Sally's saying, that's why they call him Money Mitch. Great job, Mitch. Awesome job. And great job to the community, too, because we were all over that here today. Amazing stuff. And by the way, I didn't mention this. Jay Rice, you had mentioned this earlier, and I think I glossed over it, and I'm sorry about that. But watching Apple, big dog on the Qs, Jay's exactly right. We're watching the SQQQ price. We're also watching the Qs. But it pays to watch Apple too, right? That's going to be one of the biggest names in there. You're seeing that roll over. No surprise, we're seeing the SQQQ trade work as well. Keep that on your radar. Good shout there. Great stuff here this morning, folks. Great stuff.
Now the question is, do I want the SPY to come to 410 and do I play the TQQQ?
Oh, you're going to try to reverse and get cute here, Mitch?
Oh, I'm looking pretty. I'm looking pretty. We'll see what happens. It's coming to the 410s. That's going to be the level that I'll look to see if the SPY can hang out at. And it's just because we've been playing the chop game. I mean, look at these moves in the SPY, team. Up, down, up, down, up, down. We'll look to see what happens right now. It's definitely a hard market. But I'm going to look for a quick break through that 410, then look to see if we get a wick recovery. And I might take the TQQQ back up.
Great. We are now up $1.50 from the SQQQ low that Voodoo gave you about 40 minutes ago. Just an unbelievable job here by the team. SQQQ, huge move here. Again, at this point now, I would say that with Mitch talking about the chop, we've seen this quite a bit here. Now that you're seeing this, definitely take some of your gains, right? Don't make sure you put some of those gains in your pocket so that you're not sitting here like me being like, oh, I wish I was still in it. Put the gains in your pocket. Get those gains, move on to the next potential trade here.
I mean, you guys can call out some big movers on the day, but I just see it in a lot of stocks where it's just chopped within the range versus what we normally see, which is breakout and continuations, right? I love continuation moves. I'm a trend trader, but we haven't been seeing those style of trades. We've been seeing high volatility. I'll say it again, not normal volatility. Stocks, the SPY doesn't normally just do this, team, where it goes up, let's say from 409 to 415, back down to 410. That doesn't normally happen. And so what does that show us? There's massive volatility out there. That's all the algorithmic volume. That's why I wasn't a big fan of free commissions, because it put more algorithms into play than less. I would much rather have less algorithms out there than more algorithms. But hey, to each his own, right? We'll see what happens out there. Glad you're able to hit your daily goal, Sal. And like always, it's always about you guys determine, right? You guys can give me credit, but truly the credit goes to who? Goes to you guys out there that make the trade, because you make the decision, right? And so if you made that decision, don't give me the pat on the back. Give yourself the pat on the back, team.
Yeah, that's really good advice, Mitch. When you put your money at risk and you end up profiting, you are the one that deserves the pat on the back. Taking information from other sources is fine, but the actual execution is easier said than done. So if you do it, pat yourself on the back. You are responsible for all trades, good or bad. So get in the habit of rewarding yourself when you do it well, and get in the habit of identifying what went wrong when you did it poorly so that you can change that around here. Really good shout there, Mitch.
All right, starting to do the TQQ.
God,
so now we're going towards it.
I love
Reversing here, team. Reversing a
Dave
little
saying
bit.
2.5 times the daily goal. You had just mentioned that Sal hit his daily goal. Absolutely love seeing this, right? Set goals for yourself, hit them during the day. Let's go. Let's go. Absolutely love it. This is a good first day back, Mitch. This is a great first day back. I mean, hell yeah. I am extremely motivated. This market is definitely choppy here. This market is definitely choppy here, but we are going to find the plays. We are going to find the different trades here. Whatever it is, whatever market conditions we're given, we are going to find stuff for you.
Starter there, 24.56 there. I talked about a TQQQ. TQQQ. Just want to make sure no one gets I'm flipping. So just want to make sure no one gets twisted, thinks that I'm longing against SQQQ here and then gets just crushed. Like always, you guys make the decision. I'm not here to make decisions for you, just here to take my own trades. And you guys let me know, am I in the zone or not, right? We'll see what happens. So for me, 15-minute on the TQQ is what I have it on right now. Why? Because I don't want to be in the 1 minute and just being eager to jump in. So I'm looking for support to come into play here. Look at the QQQ support right now in the 15-minute. Prior resistance trying to become support, right? If anything, right there around the 54s is where we closed last time. But we could actually even pull it back here towards the resistance on this action here to look to see if that holds. That's 24.50s, right? Look to see if that kind of holds there. 410s really close to the area there on the SPY. So I could expect it to touch 410s and then come back. I'm actually going to be looking for a little cut through, and that's where I'll be adding on the TQQQs down towards 24. 24 is the risk right now with the small entry. But as I get closer and closer, I'm going to be having my average probably closer towards the 24.30s and 24.25s and looking for a move back towards the, say, 24.90s. I'm not going to look for too much, just back to VWAP. And then we'll look to see if we get the push back in the SPY up to 415. We'll see what happens. A lot of chop out there. You got to be careful. You got to be fast in this market. Earlier, I was a little bit slower. Now I'm just trying to react fast and be to the moves. Genius, if it cracks 379, I'll get out on that one. We have 404 on that one. So it would be about 22 cents on the loss there for Genius. If it does cut me out, a move back through 4. I think it gets to 450. So I'm not going to be mad about that. That's a 50-cent reward for about a 22-cent risk. And I do think that if it gets to 450, what's not to make us think that 5's not in reach? We'll see what happens on that. Focusing in. Let's do it, team.
What was the I just had it here. Yeah, that Ohio River news. That's so I don't so MD, let's talk about that here real quick. I don't have a stock for this, Mitch, so I don't have anything. I don't have any type of.
I got you. I'll put my back up. I'm just focusing in.
Yep. This Ohio River chemical spill, definitely scary. Now, I don't necessarily have a trade from this yet, but this is definitely going to be something to keep an eye out for. You're going to want to watch for, disaster cleanup, things like that, maybe water stocks, bottled water stocks. I don't have all of the information out of here, so I don't necessarily want to speculate. But it definitely seems like that chemical spill, train derailment, pretty bad. So this actually might lead to trades coming up here. And okay, thank you, Jay. NSC is the rail. That's interesting. I didn't realize either.
I was wondering why the railroads looked bullish. It could have just been a trick. Could have been a trick. I've been seeing their setups. Their setups technically wise are interesting. There's the crack for the SPY through the 410s, now towards 409.50s here. Getting some ads in on TQQQ. I'll kick it back to you, Ron.
No, I was just saying that I'm still watching the SQQQ, not to confuse everybody. I'm watching the inverse of what Mitch is.
Now we're really getting fun. All right, so I got a pullback fill there. We got 24.28s. So average right now for me is 24.42. Looking to see if the SPY can recover here. A crackdown through 409 is what we don't want to see if we're looking for the bullish action back towards the VWAP, right? So we'll see what happens now if we can get that action. I'd like to see a wick there. like what we're doing right now. Like if you like a wick here would be nice. Back up towards 2440s. There's very rare times that I've ever traded like this, team. I can tell you that right now. I can probably count it on my hands. So that's why I'm really focused on the numbers right now. Whenever you feel like you're doing something that is just not always up your alley, try your best to just not think about the move, but what is shown to you and how to react. That's how those traders trade things like those fast movers, right? They don't think, they react. Google bleeding fast, says Andy J. Yeah, how's Microsoft? That's the one that I don't want to see just kind of tank through 270. You see how it wicked through 270?
Yeah.
That's freaking buyers. That's buyers off that 270s. The question is, will they get flushed on? That's the 270 area. That's where you got to buy the dip earlier. That's where I expect to buy the dippers to come back in. And as it cracked through there, it went to 269.28. It just like hits levels there, right? So when institutions put in orders, they don't put in orders at one spot. They're going to layer it through that level. That's why I approach that like that and sizing in. They layer it. What do I mean by layering it? They put it there at 270. They put it there at 260 80s, 260 60, 260 40, 269. And then what it does is it goes through that, it flushes through, it catches that supply, and then comes back up, right? This is how those bigger traders are able to nail that kind of style. And so I said, why not me approach that kind of style of trading, right? Why not me try to take, let's say, if I'm trying to fill 100 shares, go at it at 20 or 10 shares and layer the order versus just getting in at 100 shares at 270, then seeing it go to 260 30s and stopped out, and then seeing it come right back up, right? So you got to know your sizing, know how to deal with that volatility there can definitely give you an advantage.
Jay mentioning hyper again here. So let me flip over to my screen. Hyper, we're still in no man's land. We're still kind of in between this range. So looks like it's trying to trade back up towards that 166. What we would really need to see here is a move through 166 on volume. Looks like maybe we're consolidating here. Taking it here seems a bit risky because if you get a knife, you're going to be down right away. But maybe we end up getting another move here through 166. Again, if that happens, our next level here, 209. Right? So 209. This is a pretty nice formation here on the daily chart. Depending on your risk tolerance, maybe a potential short-term swing trade here on hyper. I have no position in it right now. I'm not holding this overnight. I will update you if that changes.
A little annoyed that I didn't get an extra fill there on TQQ, but we'll see what happens. Right now, it is starting to bottom out there. I'm going to let the SPY test 410 one more time. So one more time for that reversal action, right? The same way we got it on the 5-minute, there was about 4 candles here that was the move, and then we reversed, right? So I'm looking for that test now to go to the 410 area and then reverse off of that area. That's this middle chart right here. So come back to 410. We don't want to see like here where we got the wicking action. We want to see it kind of close above that 410 and then come back up towards 412. If it does do that at 412, I think we get back to VWAP, which is 412.40s. And it could just be in chop land for the rest of the day. We'll find out. The chop land out there is no joke right now. But if we do crack through 409, that's where I got to be careful because it could be the flush down. So for TQQQ, I could expect the 2450 test again. And that's why I'm not adding here in the 2463s because I'd push my average through that 2450. I want to give myself the ability for it to come back to that support right now, which I'm actually below that entry. And I think that that's an important outlook. By sizing in there, it really helped me be above the price action. Well, my entry be below the price action, which is what I'm always trying to be, right? Always trying to get some of that scoop action and then come back up. The algorithms, I think, are creating more of this style in me where I think like, hey, man, putting in your entry at one spot in this market, it's almost detrimental, I would say, to your trading. All right, let's keep going. We'll see what else is going on out there, team. Just battling. The battle's on. I'm gonna have to turn the music up. Need to get my zone right.
IREN complete breakdown from that range that we talked about earlier. So just to kind of put a cap on this, we're probably done with IREN here for today. Suppose maybe keep this on your back burner in case we start to curl. We get a volume pop. Maybe this does trade back up towards 3. But remember, what we were looking at before was this range between 269 and 3. We knifed out of that range, and we've really never even made an attempt to get back there. So IREN, this looks done here. Still waiting on Hyper. Hyper looks like this is going to try to take out 166. If you trade this, make sure you have your stops in place. Let's take a look here. Palantir. This is another one that we kind of talked about, right? This had the AI theme in it, tried to bounce earlier, really has found some support here around this 830. Let's see if we end up getting a move. Palantir might be one. Keep on your radar for this afternoon. We'll see if Palantir gets rolling here.
We're at the hibachi table, baby. Let's go. The chop lands. Throw you the egg, a little crack. Hibachi. I need some hibachi, man. All right, let's see if we hold this cut down. Look how the SPY's testing those 410s right now. 410 right on the dot right now. Let's see what happens here. This is going to be vital for it. Can we get the ramp back up? Are we going to play the SQQ and the TQQ today, Ryan? This will be interesting, man. That's what it's all about, man. At the end of the day, I'll tell you guys that I'm here to get better, team. If I was making $1 million on trading, yeah, I wouldn't be here, team. I probably wouldn't even be doing media. I'd just be focusing on making the millions. But that's why I'm here, is to get better. I hope that you guys are here for the same thing.
Always try to work on your craft. Always try to be the best version of yourself. That's going to be able to allow you to do this career long term. I would turn this over to some of the more experienced folks in our chat. Guys like Voodoo and Jay Rice, who have been at this for a long time and have been very successful doing it. What advice can you give to the group? Stick with it, right? Stick with it. Make sure that you are constantly learning from your mistakes. Make sure that you're adapting to the market that you see. Lots of good stuff here today.
All right, team. We're starting to get that. I'm about to see the 5-minute candle close on the SPY, which is very important for me if it can close above 410s here. So we got about right there. Boom. It closes. Where does it close? 410.09. Now let's see if it holds to 410 here on a little wick action. Don't want to see it get through that 409.33s. And let's start looking for that 411. I'm going to look for 412s to come up, a little bit of a push upward here. We'll see if we get it. Let's go to the 5-minute here. All right, now it's looking like we could get that recovery. Let's see if the buyers come in here. Still in the green on the position. That's why I'm not adding right now, because it's just kind of like an indecision moment, right? It's not decision moment right now. It's indecision. Letting the SPY, the market overall, tell me what's going to happen here. There's the push back above the 410s. I can add on the SQQs there and now start holding towards an important risk. So canceling other orders, because you don't want to get caught on all of a sudden a pullback and then those orders get filled and you don't know what your risk is. Now I got to establish 24.46 is my entries. Where's my risk? 24.23. And so right below the lows, 24.25 is the low in the recent action. I'm going to hold below that and look to see if we get the 410 move back towards 412 on the market. Always safe, man. Always safe. That's what it's all about. Watch the knife. Always be safe. You don't want to catch knives out there. And I'm glad to hear you say that, Quantum. At the end of the day, that's what I do. I really do try to do this show, and Benzinga is really all about, for me, it's paying it forward, right? Paying it forward for other people that have paid it forward for me and can push me forward in my success and my skills in trading. I'm by no means an expert, don't consider myself, but one thing I do is consider myself a market enthusiast. I love doing this, team, and I love being in the markets. Loved always pushing my levels and always looking to keep growing.
I second that, Mitch. I don't consider myself an expert either. I consider myself an enthusiast and a participant. And I, too, would not be here without the help of others. And so I am also trying to pay that forward to everybody. That's all of the different shows and productions that we do are all about education and help. I firmly believe that there is nobody else in the world that cares more about your personal finances than you do. And this is something that everyone can do, no matter what your background, what your interests. You can do this if you apply the right things to it and if you remain disciplined. So love seeing that. Love to help any way that we can. I'm glad to be back, Mitch. I'm glad to be back.
Let's go, baby. We're about to get AB to join us up here at 11, and 11:30 we'll be having, of course, David Green join the show. So stick around, team. We got a lot going on. Ryan, if you got to hop out, no worries. I'll keep it going until we get AB here. Any last comments there, Ryan?
Watch some of these names for later. Remember, that theme about stuff in the afternoon actually running might come into play here. PLTR we have on there. IREN we have on there. Maybe even GNUS. Watch some of the Bitcoin names in case we get another move up here in Bitcoin. But it's been a great day here today. We're going to be back at this again tomorrow. I'm glad to be back. Take care, everybody. We will see you in the morning.
I hear you, Dylan. Have a good one, Ryan. Always great to have you on. Happy to have you back, my friend. All right, let's keep going. We're going to keep going here. AB should be joining up in a little bit. Just going to focus in here. Let's see what happens out there. Just trying to maintain a middle-class American wealth. Love it, Preston. Love it. All right, there we go. We're getting a little bit of a push here in the market. We'll look to see if we can continue getting that little lift here. Like always, smash the like, guys. Can we get to 300 today? Want to see if we can get to 300 likes. Let's go, team. Come on, smash it up. Also want you guys to check out the swing trading show later today. I'll have Christian Fromhertz. You guys might know him. You guys don't want to miss out. Start swing trading, 3 p.m. Eastern. It's the brand new show. I'm trying to make it the best swing trading show that there is out there. There's not many that talk about swing trading live, right? Well, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'll be telling you guys my setups, sometimes taking it at the moment. Of course, sometimes I'm going to be taking those swing trades here and just elaborating on them on Start Swing Trading. So you guys don't want to miss that. Just give you guys the link for you guys to maybe hit the remind me later. It's at 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. You guys don't want to miss it. Christian Fromhertz, one of my favorite follows on Twitter. And very few people, I'll tell you guys, that I watch reviews, trading reviews, I actually catch Christians. So just to give you guys that insight, that's how much I believe in Christian's ability to judge the market. And what it is there is not necessarily that I'm looking to trade his trades, but more along, I'm looking to see if I find the same thing. Do we see the same rotation is more along what I'm focusing on. And if I can find that, that definitely gives me a little bit of edge. We'll see now the SPY coming back. Can you get to that 412? There's the TQQQ coming back. Wouldn't you know it? We'll look to see if we get to the 2490s. I can take some profits and leave the rest for the runner. All right, let's see. We're getting into it right now. Getting up there, 2486. Can we get to 2490s? Want to take some profits there to see if we get that SPY. I'm looking to make a move to 412. Let's see if it can get back up there. 89 showing up there on the offer. It's slowing up here. I'm taking it right now, team. I'm just going to take a little bit there. Just took there a 2488. Tried to be a little bit picky above into the 90s. I try my best right now not to be picky. Just took majority of the move off. Now we'll let the rest of it work. Average 2446. Let's see what happens now. And for that being mentioned, Genius. Let's see if it can come back to 4, man. I want to see if I got the Genius brands right this time. That one's done me wrong before. We'll see what happens there. All right, we just got a little spike to 94s. Now let's see if we can get to 25. That's where I want to go ahead and let that pop through 25, maybe get to like 24, 25, 14, take all the profits. I'm trying to do quick trades back, because we could reject off the VWAP. That's 412.24. So it could reject VWAP and then go back to red, right? And so I'm not looking for the move all the way back to 415. If I was looking for that move, I could look for TQQ up towards 25.50s. Not going to go ahead and do that one. That's going to be a lot harder of a trade. We'll see what happens today. It's been a tough one. SPY coming back around. It's a trap. It's a trap, says SRT8. It's hard, man. I'll tell you right now, I don't know if there's one specific way there. Bought ENR $30 puts off their terrible earnings last week and made one flush down, but has been steadily climbing since. I guess that's the market keeping it afloat. Can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. And the market can keep it afloat. That's one thing that you need to ask yourself. What market environment we're in? That's one of the most important questions you can ask yourself before you take a trade. Because if you can answer that question, you can see if that stock fits the narrative. Right now, what has the narrative been? It's been growth stocks. It's been technology stocks. It's been stocks that have been beaten down. The Dash for Trash, Carvana, the AI, names with thematic names, right? We saw Tesla move, thematic theme, right? Those are the stocks you want to be looking at. Understanding what type of stock you have is so important. That could give you the advantage of looking for multiple moves versus just one, right? This is where I always talk about how taking one style trade isn't always just the best. But if you're able to go ahead and more go into a basket approach, or maybe like Easy Mike always mentioning here, the pairs action, whatever it may be, find what works best for you. And if trading one way is not working out for you, maybe you can look into pairs trading, a little bit of hedge out there, looking for some alpha. We'll see what happens. SPY trying to come back towards 412 and the VWAP. That's where I want to go ahead and get the last little spike above the 25s on TQQQ. Take the money and run, and then we'll see what happens if Genius Brands can make that move. Of course, we got AB coming up next. Don't want to miss that. Don't go anywhere, team. Got a lot of live trading action coming up for you guys. And also David Green, I know he's always looking into the markets, probably already doing some day trading as we talk. So you guys don't want to miss that. DG coming up at 11:30. What days and times are start swing trading? Well, start swing trading is every single day, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. You guys don't want to miss that. I give you guys the link in the chat if you want. Scroll up for that. But definitely 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. That's start swing trading. We already got the link up. So if you guys go to our channel, you should be able to see it up there. And it's going to be with Christian Fromhertz today. Don't want you guys to miss it.
What is up, my man, Money Mitch? How you doing today?
What's up? What's up, AB? Just a little bit of trading action, right? Up and down moves all around. And don't be a pig, right? That's the truth. Today is definitely one of those days where you got to be a bull or a bear to be making money. And if you're a pig, well, you're getting slaughtered. Up and down moves all around in the market. We went from the SPY down there towards like 409, 50s, bounced all the way up there to 415s. I went crazy, AB, and I was like, 415, you know what? We're going SQQ. We nailed the SQQ back up. Now when the stocks were coming down, I was like, I think the SPY is going to hold around 410s. Now the SPY holding 410s. We're going TQQ now. AB, we're flipping it, man. The reversal style trade. It's
there
working.
You go.
It's
there
working,
you go,
baby.
You got to be able to flip it and reverse it sometimes in trading to make money.
Yeah,
I know.
man.
I actually put out my first options trade in like months earlier today, where I bought some SPY calls off like the initial dip, and they went up 100%. I was like, oh, I'm up 100% on my first trade in like months. This is pretty good. And then now they're like down a bunch because SPY went back down. But it was just like a few contracts. I was my thought process, my thesis like was right. I was like, I don't think the inflation numbers were like that bad where we're gonna like sell off that hard. I think we're still trending more bullish right now. And I think right now, I mean, I would not be surprised if we do take another leg lower before moving higher. I'm talking just in terms of overall market and SPY right now. But I do think that the trend has kind of been more bullish than bearish the past 2-3 weeks, the last month or so. So I'm using this time to kind of buy weakness and say, okay, anytime we have these big dips, I'm expecting the market to come back. And until that proves wrong, until now we're going to go into another downtrend, drop another big chunk on the S&P, then I'm going to keep doing that.
Now the SPY is looking like they're trying to get towards that 412. I'm looking for the spike above the 25s to take profits, right? We'll see if we get that spike on the TQQQs. I don't think we're going back all the way to 415. If not, I would hold my TQQQ a little bit more. I think we're going back towards VWAP, maybe 412.76. And then we might get a little bit of sideways trend through lunch. So just be careful out there, traders. Like always, we could run into a little bit of chop. And it's been the chop zone today. Shout out to my man Triple D. Definitely talked about how the markets could just be choppy today. It just seems like it's like that right now. It's not one direction. It's more just volatile moves up, volatile moves down.
Yep. What about any individual names, Mitch? I heard you talking about Genius. Any other individual names you've been watching today?
Yeah, there's a lot of these kind of smaller moves that started getting the pop again, like AI, right? We've been talking about that one. That one's right off the VWAP right now. So if you feel like the markets are just going to rip, well, that's a possibility right now to take a look at that one, right? I mean, AI has just been an absolute monster. I don't know if it's going to keep going. For me, I think it has to hold 22s. And I talked about 28 being more that short level, but it had a good reaction today. And it wasn't just the AI, right? It was also those other names like Sound, SOUN. Where's the other one? The Big Bear, BABI, I think it is, or
what's
Baidu?
the
Big Bear? Yeah, Big Bear is BBAI. I'm sorry about that, team. It's right on the VWAP, right there. So if you're thinking that one can get higher, well, you got your possibility there, right? We'll see what happens. TQQQs rejecting to get above 25s. That's not a good outlook for me. Might just take my money and run right now because we didn't get through that pop there. So just want to see continuously to see if the SPY can get towards that 412 VWAP, 412.20s. But if it can't do that and this candle goes red, I'm just going to take my money and run.
There you go. Well, all right, everybody. Smash the like for my man, Money Mitch. Money Mitch, you said you're going to be back later this afternoon with some swing trading?
Definitely the swing trading show. You guys don't want to miss that. I did get stopped out of some of them today. One was shop. I'm a little frustrated about that one. I got a little stop hunted there. And that happens, team. Look how the candle going red there. Now we're getting the pullback on the SQQQs or the TQQQ. Don't want it to break that 75. I'm going to get out if it breaks that 75 there. There's 75. And it bounces there.
There you go. All right. Well, Money Mitch, we'll continue watching the Qs. We'll continue watching SQQ and TQQ as well because, I mean, look, today, I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that went into today, either long or short with the CPI that have been a little bit disappointed that the market hasn't moved like that much. Like, what is SPY right now? SPY is down 0.4%. So within 0.5%. I'm sure a lot of people expected a huge move today with the CPI numbers. So we'll see if we start getting some of that volatility later in the day or if it kind of remains more of this, just up and down day throughout the day. So, Mitch, thank you for holding the fort down to 11:10. We will get, again, David Green joining us. If you have not been on the channel while we've had David Green on, you're missing out. Dude is the real deal when it comes to trading. Used to be on the New York Stock Exchange on the floor, trading for like 20 years, and now he's just down in Florida, my man, just doing his thing on the computers now, but is a killer when it comes to technicals. So definitely stay tuned for that. I know Mitch will be watching.
Yep, team just took those TQQQs, going to take that money and run. Now I think that you're going to see in the battles, we'll see what happens in the SPY. Find out later today how I feel about the markets. I'm not going to make a call right now because the truth is we're in the chop land. I'll let AB tell you guys what's going on out there and sticking with it, right? Learn from DG that's coming up. DG does this on a daily basis. And what I like about him, and you'll see with AB, I'm sure he'll be talking about it, is those pivot formulas, right? We'll see what he's talking about there when he comes on. You guys have fun. I'll see you guys a little bit later. I'll let you take the lead, AB. I'll see you in a little while, my friend.
There we go. All righty, y'all. Let's go ahead and transition into some Benzinga Live. We'll go ahead and play that introduction when we come back. Again, here in about 20 minutes, we'll get my man David Green on. After that, we're going to have the CEO from Tradeer on at around noon, 12:15 p.m. Eastern. So we're just going to keep the show ticking. Some really big interviews coming up today. Do not go anywhere. Let's go ahead and roll that intro. When we come back, I'll pull up my Benzinga Pro. We'll do a quick rundown of the overall market, see what's moving, what sectors are hot today, as well as just a couple other, obviously the big story today has been CPI, but there's been a couple other little stories that have just kind of tickled my interest that I do want to talk about. So when we come back, again, we'll go Benzinga Pro first and do a rundown of those major indices, see how the market's holding up, and then again, a couple little fun stories coming up. So don't go anywhere.
This is Benzinga Live. Spencer Israel and producer AB. What's up, everybody? How we doing?
Someone told me buy high, sell higher.
Let's get Matt Hammond on the show, talk some IPOs. Jake Wojacek from Trend Spider. We have a breaking news.
Alrighty, y'all. Let's go ahead and get that Benzinga Pro pulled up. Let's go ahead and start with the S&P 500. Once this ever gets to loading. But as always, let me know in the chat. I see Julie talking about BKKT to compete with Coinbase, creating a one world crypto. Interesting. One world crypto. That doesn't sound that decentralized. I don't know. But I am logged in. All right, hold on. Here we go. No one look at my password, please. I know we might have some hackers out there. By the way, I listened to a long podcast the other day about the Silk Road, like the old dark website type stuff. Very fascinating. I had no clue kind of all the stuff that went on with that. The dude who like started the Silk Road, Ross Ulbricht or something, is still in prison for life, and a lot of people think he should be let out because he was just kind of like running a free market type place. He wasn't the one actually selling like drugs on there, any of these stuff. Then other people are like, what do you mean? He set up a marketplace to sell drugs and guns. Like, of course he should be in prison for life. But there's this whole like debate on there. But anyway, S&P 500 trading down about 0.5%. You've got your Qs trading down about 0.4%, and the Dow Industrial Average trading down about 0.7%. So this is kind of rare on a red day. Granted, we're pretty red, or we're pretty flat, not super red. But it is pretty rare to see a day where the Dow is down more than the Qs, because typically on down days, growth gets sold off harder than value. So you would typically see like the Qs or NASDAQ down more than Dow. So this is showing me that there's weakness in specific sectors under the Dow Industrial Average, which if you're newer to investing, essentially the Dow is comprised of just 30 of the biggest companies in the United States. There's a few techie companies in there, right? Like I think Apple and Microsoft are in there, but it's mostly, like big corporations like Johnson & Johnson, and then like, you have energy companies and financial companies, big banks. So I associate Dow more with value, with again, big banks, energy, whatever. So if I go from Dow, which we see is down about, again, 0.7%, let's check out XLE, down, okay. And let's check out XLF. Well, I'm actually surprised to see banks slightly in the red today, because, I mean, the slightly higher inflation you would think would mean that maybe the Fed has to keep, interest rates a little bit higher for longer, which is actually good for banks. So, I mean, I don't know. It looks like XLF is, again, pretty flat. But let's look at some individual banks. JP Morgan, yep, flat. Bank of America, up slightly. So, if anything, I do think banks are interesting here because, again, the higher inflation than expected could mean that rates just stay higher for longer than what's anticipated. But part of the Fed's ability to do that, to keep rates higher for longer, is because of the economy has been so strong. So if you those two things together are like the perfect situation for a big bank, right? A stronger economy, where people are spending more money, people are borrowing money, all these things, but higher interest rates. So higher interest rates will allow the banks to make more money on any money it's lending out, any money it's holding, all these things. But it doesn't, typically higher interest rates are associated with, it makes the economy slow down a little bit, which isn't good for banks. But if that's not what we're seeing, then that's really good news for banks. So, I mean, I think I already own some shares of like Bank of America in my long-term account. And I'm sure there are people out here that would probably, give me reasons or tell me why it's overvalued here. There are other better bank stocks to buy or whatever. But I think a stock like Bank of America or JP Morgan, someone who, typically these stocks pay a pretty decent dividend. I mean, JP Morgan, its stock has come back up a lot, right? I mean, it was $100 just a few months ago in October. It's up to 140 now. So like more than a 30 to 40% gain there. But when you look at it, it's still not really that close to its all-time highs of like in the 170s at 142 here. So because it pays a nice dividend, even if it goes down, a little bit, I mean, maybe I would wait just to see it, make sure it doesn't start coming all the way back down here. I don't know. I really do think, again, if you have a long-term time horizon, now is not a bad time to start looking at some of these names that even if they've come up a lot in the past couple months, they're still not really back to their all-time highs, right? If you look at a stock like Apple, even though Apple I know has come up a bunch in the past 2-3 months or so, again, really in the last, month or so from January 10th, Apple was at $123. It was at its lowest point in like 2 years, just a couple months ago. And it feels we're so far away from that like just a few months ago, this stock was at its like 2-year lows. People were worried out of their shoes. SPY was at like 350, and then now we've bounced up so high. So again, I've said it on the show before. I'll say it again. Anytime you see like really rapid, quick, big movements, I expect some sort of a pullback. So SPY up. I don't know what SPY is up. 10% in the last month or so. Of course, we could see a pullback from here, but you also have to understand the reasons why it's up. It's not just up randomly, SPY up 10% in a month, and say, okay, it has to go back down because SPY just shot up to. No, it's up because inflation has looked a lot better. The economy has held up a lot better than a lot of people have anticipated. And so I think it makes a lot of sense. If anything, I'm surprised the market's not up even more, because if you go back a couple months ago to when we were at those 2-year lows on Apple, right? A recession was like everyone's foregone conclusion. It wasn't a matter of if we're going to get a recession. It's how big is it going to be? How long is it going to last? When's the Fed going to have to start cutting rates because unemployment's skyrocketing and all these things? And ultimately, that hasn't really, numbers-wise, the data has not been congruent to that argument. The data has gone completely against that. Said, okay, we've continued to add jobs. Inflation's coming down, and people are like, what the hell? Economists are confused on how this is even possible. So, again, I understand, anytime I look at a stock like Apple or something, I say, oh my God, it's up 50% in 2 months. A pullback's got to be coming. Unless there's a real fundamental reason for it to be up 50% more. And I think for SPY and I think for the overall market right now, you can make that argument that there's a legitimate reason over the past month or so that's up just as much as it should be. If not even, it should be up more. Because if I would have told you 3 months ago that everything, all these fears about a recession or inflation or whatever are going to start subsiding, you'd be like, yeah, I'd get more bullish. And so that's how a lot of people are feeling. And so it makes sense why SPY is going higher. So I see people out there that are basically like, oh, we've got to come back down, too much, too fat, whatever. I understand. People will probably still start taking some profits at some point. Anytime you get into a trade and can make, 10% in a month or whatever it is, like that's a good for a year. So it makes sense you start taking some profits or start trimming some positions. So I'm not saying like, oh, the market has to go up from here. I just wouldn't get short just because the market's gone up in a short period of time, essentially is what I'm saying. But all right, before David Green hops on, I mentioned that a couple like more fun stories. The first story that I saw, so I had to look into this because I didn't believe it. It was a Super Bowl related story. Apparently, Super Bowl halftime performers don't get paid for the performance, which I guess like makes sense in a way, because if you ask like Rihanna, it's like the biggest gig of any artist, and any artist can get in that given year is to perform at the Super Bowl halftime show, like the most eyes, the most people watching. So it doesn't matter who you ask, whether it's Rihanna, Drake, whoever, like most people are gonna say yes. And that's not really like the part that's that interesting to me, because well, I mean that part is interesting, but it makes sense, right? Again, because you get more value and exposure through the Super Bowl appearance, whatever, than however much they would pay you anyway. The thing that I think is really interesting while I was researching this is that actually, though, the artists are entitled to pay through their union typically. So for like Shakira's Super Bowl show a couple years ago, it was like she got paid like $1,000 for the thing through the union. And that's just what's it's pretty, like, I don't want to say it's pretty funny to me. It's interesting to me that these types of like artists, and even in like Hollywood, actors and stuff, like those types of jobs aren't the ones you associate with like a union, right? You think union rail workers and pipe fitters and plumbers that are like union protected and all this stuff. And so to me, it's just very interesting that like the rich, the biggest stars are getting paid through their union for the Super Bowl halftime show. Nice little wrinkle in some like labor laws there. But anyway, I don't know if that's why Rihanna chose to open with the song that she did open with. I don't really know. But all right. The other fun story. Okay, I swear to God, I was just doing some research on this before the show started, and I just found this out. So this might be like a common knowledge. There's no way it's a common knowledge type thing. But anyway, so I was on the Google Trends. If you go to Google real-time trends, this is just giving us a look into what the most popular searches on Google at any given time are, which for, someone like myself who works in content, you kind of always want to be looking at what the hottest things are. Now, okay, great. Now I'm not even seeing it on here. So this is going to go against my whole segment I was going to do here. We're going to do it anyway, though. All right, anyway. Somehow earlier on here, one of the top trending searches. Maybe I'll just do it in here. Let's do it. All right. I don't know if y'all know about these toys. I know my boy AT knows about these toys. They're called Squishmallows. Squishmallows? Am I saying that right, AT? Squishmallows. All right. So these are like the newest Beanie Baby type fad. Super soft toys. You can get them Target, Walmart, you name it. They've been trending recently. You can see back a couple weeks ago in December, a score of 100 on Google Trends. Other periods in the past like couple years, they've gotten really popular. But it was on Google's real-time trends today. Squishmallows were for a special edition Valentine's Day gift. Hold on, I'm catching up on the chat real quick. Rihanna, billionaire. I doubt she cares about whatever they might pay her. Yeah, and I think that's, for most of these artists, if you only get asked to do a Super Bowl halftime performance if you're a huge artist already, right? Thinking back to the past 10 years, who's performed? Prince, like Eminem and Snoop Dogg last year. I don't even know. I can't. Why am I blanking on whoever has done all the Maroon 5? Right? You're only like you're cream of the crop if you're even getting the invite to perform at the Super Bowl halftime show. So chances are you don't need the money. Again, the more interesting part of the story I think is I just think it's crazy that why does Rihanna need to be in a union? I don't know, but I'm sure she still feels that she gets some benefits from it, and it's interesting that if people that make that much money and are in that business are in it, then why are some other people not? I don't know. But anyway, Squishmallow is trending today on Valentine's Day for a special edition like Squishmallow Valentine's Day gift. I was looking through the trends, seeing what was trending. I was like, you know what? This is like the 10th thing I've seen in the past like 2 months about Squishmallows. What's the deal with these type thing? Like, I don't know what the deal is. I feel like an old man because I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know what these things are. What's the deal with them? I start researching it. So I start thinking about it like from an investing perspective. Well, if these things are getting like big and big among kids and people are buying these, like maybe I want to invest in it. I wonder who makes Squishmallows. I wonder who makes them. So I start researching who makes Squishmallows. It's spelled with an A. Marshmallow. But okay, hold on. Marshmallow is spelled with okay, no, you're right. Wait. Marshmallow is spelled with an A too. But you pronounce it like marshmallow. But it's with an A. All right, marshmallow. No, okay, Squishmallow. So Squishmallow is trending on a Valentine's Day. So I'm Googling like who makes Squishmallows. My first research leads me to a little company called Kelly Toys. But I have a hunch that Kelly Toys isn't where this story ends. So then I Google. I'll show you exactly what my research looks like. Watch. Who makes Squishmallows? All right. So Kelly Toys Holdings owns Squishmallows. Now I'm gonna wait, Aaron, you got to listen to this about Squishmallows. All right. Kelly Toys. So then I'm gonna go. Who owns Kelly Toys? All right. Well, actually, this isn't how my research went first. So first then it took me to Jazar Ways, which is a different company. What's up? Squishmallows? So then it took me to this Jazwaris site. So Jazwaris is another toy company that owns Kelly Toys, I guess. So then I look up who owns Jazwaris, and then it takes me to Allegheny Capital Corporation. Now, here's where things get interesting. So this is a conglomerate, and then I want to know, okay, who owns Allegheny? And then, Berkshire Hathaway. So, in a roundabout way, my man Warren Buffett owns Squishmallows. Of course he does. I don't even know, what does this dude not own? He owns Dairy Queen and Squishmallows and Geico and a bunch of Apple stock. So, if you want to buy a stock in Squishmallows, your only way to do so is to buy Berkshire stock. You can buy Berkshire Class A stock if you've got a lot of money, or if you're like me and you don't have a lot of money, you can buy Berkshire Class B stock. The only problem with this is if you want exposure to just the Squishmallows, you're not going to get exposure to just the Squishmallows through Berk B, because if you're buying into Berk B, you're buying into the revenue streams from like all of his companies. So Dairy Queen, what else does Warren Buffett own? Geico. Let's look that up. What companies does Warren Buffett own? All right. Oxy. Yeah, he owns a bunch of Oxy. NetJets, See's Candies, Heinz, Dairy Queen, Home Services of America. But some of them aren't full. See, like he owns 20% of American Express, owns 12% of I should get some benefits. I don't know. Bank. Oh, wow. General Motors. Warren B, when's the next time you come into Detroit to check up on GM? I'll come with you. We can come crack down. Allegheny. Allegheny. Oh, how am I supposed to say it? I don't know. Allegheny. It used to be a ticker trader traded under the ticker Y. It was one of those single letter tickers, which we love because there's not that many of them. Of course, there can only be 26 max. So, yeah, just interesting. I don't know in the chat if you guys have any kids or anyone that buys Squishmallows or wants to buy them, or likes the toys or not. But if there's ever a thing trending, there's a chance, I guess, Warren Buffett's behind it. Does Warren Buffett own NU? I don't even know what NU is. New Holdings. No, I don't think so. Let's go back to Benzinga Pro again. As always, let me know in the chat if you guys have any stocks, anything you would like to check out specifically. How's Berkshire stock been doing, by the way? We also, I do want to do, because sports betting's been getting a lot of buzz attention since the Super Bowl. And we also have coming up March Madness, which is like, you know, that and the Super Bowl are the biggest two betting events of the year. So to have those in like a 2-month span, I think. So here's what I'll say about he likes repeat type biz, candy, insurance, financials. Yeah, I mean, he definitely loves the insurance. I think Alec, I'm not even gonna say the word, but the old ticker Y that he bought last year for more than $11 billion, I think its main thing is like an insurance company. I don't really know how they end up owning these toys, like by, again, a roundabout way. But so here's my thought process with the betting stuff. There's an expectation, right? If it's in the same quarter, the Super Bowl and March Madness, or no, maybe they're in different quarters. No, they'd be in the same quarter. So if March Madness and the Super Bowl take place in the same quarter, the expectation, I think, would be that the numbers would be a little bit better for the big betting companies that quarter. So it would be Q1 2023. So we would see it in what their like earnings report coming out in like April or May. And so the expectation is there. So just because the numbers are higher, I don't think, you know, necessarily matters that much for the companies. But what I will say is I think while these companies are still in their growth stages, and when I say these companies, I'm talking about, you know, your DraftKings, your FanDuels, your Penn Entertainments. And I would like to look at some of the trends and see, like, are their users increasing? Are the total amount bets increasing? I think the stocks could bounce really well when and if those numbers come out stronger than expected, because it would mean that they were like the company's then best quarters ever, even if they were already the expectation for them to be the best quarters ever. I think could make the stocks like respond really well. So I'm going to be looking at how the betting stocks are trading, or a little around like during and after March Madness, because I think, you know, if these things were going to get any bounce at all, this is when it would be. If again, only if these numbers come in strong. If the numbers come in way weaker than expected, and they were expected to be the best weeks or the best months of the year for these companies, and they weren't, then obviously forget about it. These stocks will get hammered. Another headline that I wanted to talk about today, earlier. Pepsi shares its experience using the Tesla. What? PepsiCo, the global food and bev giant, has become the first customer to receive the Tesla Inc. Semi, the long-awaited electric semi-truck designed for regional haulage. So, okay, one thing that I read about this, for PepsiCo is, so the way these Tesla semis work is like the more you haul, the more weight it's holding, the less the distance it can go is. So PepsiCo can actually utilize these in a great way by shipping a bunch of potato chips, right? Because it's Pepsi Frito-Lay. So if Pepsi loads up a bunch of its Tesla semis with, potato chips from Frito-Lay, I mean, guys, you guys have all opened a bag of potato chips. You know you're not getting a full bag of potato chips. You know you're not getting, it's not that heavy of a bag. It's mostly air. Even like the chips themselves are mostly air. So, if you load up the truck with a bunch of potato chips, they can actually go like the full distance, whatever. Conversely, if Pepsi were to load those things up with a bunch of Pepsi, a bunch of soda, I think the trucks, they become like very unfeasible to use, at least in their current state, to say, like, okay, we're going to use this truck to drive 100 miles. It's like, okay, we need 400 miles. All right, well then, all right, let's load it up with chips instead of the drinks. So that's interesting to me, and I don't know. I haven't looked too much into it. I don't know if that's something that was anticipated, and that's why Pepsi and Frito-Lay are kind of ones like testing these trucks out, or if they kind of like are just making do with what they can with it. So let's see what the rest of this article. One second, guys. They can always scale up the battery. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like I'm saying for right now. Obviously, over time, the technology will improve. So yeah, but like, okay, so this says that the Tesla Semi can charge up to 400 miles of range in about an hour, thanks to the company's innovative mega charger. But again, I think like the range is all dependent on the actual weight. Let's do some Tesla Semi weight potato chips. Yeah, so Tesla Semi's range may fall drastically when hauling things heavier than potato chips. Dragging a trailer full of chips around is not the most intense, tough ask. Frito delivery. The PepsiCo, which is Tesla's first semi buyer, plans to roll out 100 semis next year, is already noticing the truck's range takes a massive hit when loading heavy cargo, something that Tesla critics have long suspected. A semi can carry a load of Frito-Lay chips for an impressive 425 miles with battery to spare, for instance, but potato chips in air-filled bags are one of the lightest loads imaginable. For heavier fares such as sodas, PepsiCo is limiting trips to 100 miles with the truck. So again, obviously this is like amazing, right? An electric semi truck to be able to be shipping things, gonna make us less reliant on diesel over time. I'm all in favor of this. Very impressive from Tesla. I don't want this to come across as like me being a hater or anything like that. I'm just talking about factually right now. If these electric Tesla trucks can only go 100 miles with a heavy load, it's not feasible right now. I'm talking about in 2023 for companies to start using these trucks. Now, next year, that might be different. The battery improves 2 years from now, 5 years from now, whatever. But right now, it's obviously not feasible for big companies that need to ship something from here in Detroit down to Cleveland or, wherever it's going to use these types of trucks, because you're going to need to go more than 100 miles. So anyone out there, big Tesla bulls who want to make this specific like Tesla's EV semis as like a huge revenue growth driver right now, all these things, I would just be skeptical of that, because I'd say, okay, we're clearly still ways away. We're ways away from this being a mainstream thing throughout business. These Tesla semi trucks. So again, I would just be wary of that. Let me see. Other top headlines. What do you think if Elon agrees to that 7.5 billion carrot Biden dangled in front of him for opening the Tesla charging stations to other EVs? Yeah, I mean, okay, so I saw Elon was like complaining that certain Teslas weren't included in like the Biden like tax credit for EVs or something. And it was so like they weren't compliant with what the like necessary requirements were for the thing. So this is like the same thing where obviously, I mean, this makes complete sense if you're the US, if you're the administration, if you're the government, because you're saying we're not going to subsidize your charging networks unless they're like more universal, so more people can use them, right? They want to subsidize like a universal charging station that anyone can plug into, and I think that's a good use of government funds, a way to like encourage private development, but that also, helps the public, that provides some sort of public good. So basically saying like, hey, like we'll subsidize your Tesla charging stations if they're universal. If someone with a Ford, GM, whatever pickup truck can go up and also use that station, not just Tesla owners. And I think Tesla has, for whatever reasons, they like being kind of the a separate type of charger than every other EV. And I know there's an adapter you can get so that you can use a Tesla or that you can use a universal one on a Tesla or use a Tesla one on a universal. I don't know. I don't have an electric car. What do you think if Elon agrees to that? How could that possibly affect Tesla's stock? I mean, I don't think the $75 billion subsidy or incentive to make Tesla charging, I don't know, $75 billion. I mean, Tesla's a what, $1 trillion company right now? I have no clue. Like, I don't think the 7.5 billion is going to make a big impact. I think more so if Elon shows he's like willing to work with, it's a $600 billion company, so an extra $7 billion. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it'll be good news. I don't know how much it'll move the stock. I asked him for money, Elon said. I do think it'd be like better. I think Tesla's be better off working with Biden, working with the administration, figuring out, okay, like how can we get access to some of this Build Back Better, funding? What can we do essentially instead of being adversaries? It's saying like, okay, like the government's going to do this, we're going to do that. Saying like, okay, like let's use some. I mean, Tesla wouldn't be around right now. Tesla wouldn't be a $600 billion company if it wasn't for government subsidies and tax credits and all these things. That, I mean, if you look at the history of Tesla and like how it survived in California and all these stuff, it was strictly from government intervention. So I don't know. I mean, obviously Elon knows how to work some of those loopholes and lobbying and stuff, so he knows what he's doing. So the Tesla, I don't know. I don't know I can't remember off the top of my head exactly why the Teslas weren't included in whatever tax credits they were giving out. But already up. I see my man David Green hanging out backstage. So without further ado, let's go ahead and give him our very special introduction. And when we come back, we'll be doing some live trading with Mr. Green. Mr. Green, it's been too long. How you been?
Yo, what's up, Aaron?
Not a whole lot. You can see, look how sunny it is behind me. It's the first day we've seen the sun in Detroit in a while, it seems like.
It is 81 degrees.
Woo!
In Boca Raton, Florida.
There you go.
How's everyone doing? It's been a long time. What's up, MD? What's going on? Easiest markets I've ever seen to trade. No, Aaron?
I mean, I want to start getting long here at some point, Dave. Tell me when I can start getting long.
Today? Just for the day or?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Let me show you. You got a couple of lessons. Yes, you can listen. You can listen. Relax, guys. All right. So here's the spiders. Okay. Actually, we have an order out in the spiders. I'll show you where and why. All right. So we're trading at 409.30. Go to our daily chart. And our 15 EMA is 407.50. It's right here, Aaron. So we actually have bids out down there. And this has been, and you know, we broke it the other day. We went really down. But we're trying to hold this daily trend line. And we kind of have. So 407.50 puts it right at that daily trend line again. So I have some bids out there. We're looking to buy a little bit if it holds that level. Kind of hoping we hold that because the next level we got below that is around 402. So 407.50. That keeps this whole trend line that we've had, you know, basically since the beginning of the year. I don't know. We'll see what happens when we get there. We've been doing a lot. Yes, Rashad. Thank you. We've been trading a lot of Tesla for the last month, Aaron. I saw you guys talking about it. It has been such a good trading stock for us. And I know, what's his name? Dan Nathan, WC Fields. A bunch of people have come out saying they want to be short Tesla from like $40, $50 ago, right? I don't know if you picked up on that, but a bunch have. But check this out early in the morning. Guys, for those of you who don't know who I am, I've been trading in these markets for a little more than 35 years. We have a private trading room where I trade the markets live with my traders all day. And we have Wall Street Global Trading Academy where we teach people how to trade. And then we mentor them after they have purchased our course. So this is our first trade, one of the trades this morning. Check this out in Tesla. This is last week's low, this little gold line down here, Aaron. And I think we exactly hit it. We were bidding 189.60. It went to 189.44 and proceeded from there to go up $13. So this was a perfect spot this morning that we got in. I missed Thursdays. What's up, Janie? Need to get you back. I'm back, guys. I'm back with Aaron. So we'll be here for
It's great. Hey, it's great to have you back. I know it's been a few months, or a few weeks. Sorry, not months. I hope you've been good though. I hope how have your trades been?
Everything has been good. Today was a little tough day because it was very, very volatile and some things didn't hold. But yesterday, this week, last week was like a record week for us. And yesterday was a very good day for us. We were done by like 10 o'clock yesterday. And, you know, today has been a little whipsaw. So what we do when we see days like this is try to recognize as early as possible and just cut our size and be a little more conservative. So that's what you have to do on days like this. I am seeing stuff, Aaron, from traders who are just getting torn apart with this market, you know, especially at days like this. You know, they're buying them at the high, they're selling them at the low. So it's not easy. This has been a difficult trading environment. There's no question about it. I want to talk to everybody about one thing.
Why do you think that is? You think it's just the volatility? You think it's because people are still thinking, you know, are still bearish, yet the market's been bullish, or is it just purely the volatility?
Yeah, if you're a day trader, it's the intraday volatility that if you have an opinion on something, you're gonna get wiped out. You know, Tesla looked like it was going to the moon this morning, and it crashed all the way down. But check this out. This is when Tesla hit our 200 EMA. For guys who are listening, everything we do is based on our technical analysis, right? So when Tesla was all the way up here, we tried to trend trade in Tesla, and it failed. You can see it hit our 9, hit our 15, blasted through it. Blasted through our 30 EMA, blasted through our 65 EMA. But here was the trade. When it got to our 200 EMA, this had gone down 8 points. And you see this little tail down here. It exactly hit that at 196.30 and then gave another 5-point trade. So you got to keep things small, look for extremes, and just be nimble. And don't have an opinion. That's the most important thing. Having an opinion in this market is what's going to get you wiped out. But I wanted to just talk about a little trading tip, if you don't mind, Aaron. And a lot of these stocks did this morning. All right, guys and girls, and this is something we look for. When we see stocks that get far away from the moving averages, I'm going to be conservative and say 90% of the time when you see something like this, guys and girls, it always comes back and at least tests the moving averages. And sometimes it obviously this one went right through them. So sometimes when we see stuff like this, we look to get short a little. And every stock that we looked at today, including the spiders, right? Check out NVIDIA. Okay, here NVIDIA looks like it's going to the moon. Boom, 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 boom. It pulls back. So we try to look for situations like this and get short a little bit of these things because they just do pull back to their moving averages at some point. Every single stock, almost every single time. Here are the spiders from this morning, right? And look, check this out. We had a nice pivot point up here, which again is a technical thing that tells us to get short of stock when they go up there. And the spiders went from 409 to 414, exactly hit our pivot point, and then we had the big move down from there. You guys tell me how many people out there are actively day trading? Give me some ones, guys, if you're actively day trading. I know we have a little delay. How's your trading been going, Aaron?
I've taken a step back from just active like options trading just because I don't know, I lost some money doing it, and then I was like, you know what, right now I'm just building my capital up until I'm in a more comfortable position to really start trading again. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, and it has been difficult. I'm doing this for 35 years, guys and girls, and I can tell you the last year, more than a year now, has been the most challenging trading environment I have ever seen. It just has been, and I'm doing this my whole life, right? So that's exactly what we're looking to do, Gene. We're scalping in and out of trades. I love to swing trade. I don't think we've had a swing trade in 2 or 3 months because of the volatility in the market. It's like nothing gets stretched enough to the upside to really want to get involved. And here we go. The market's coming in pretty good here now. So let's see if we make some new lows here. I wish I knew more about it. I'm trying to learn. Achilles? Well, I know the Benzinga has a lot of programs for you guys to learn. Ours is at Wall Street Global Trading Academy. So you can go check that out. We actually are doing a huge webinar tomorrow night for free at 7 p.m. Just go to WSGTA, and Aaron will put it up before we leave. We're doing a free webinar. We have like 600 people registered already. We're going to talk about day trading. We're going to talk about some technical analysis. And more importantly, we're going to talk about the rules to keep you guys out of trouble, which is what most people have problems with. All right, so I'm still looking at this 407.50 in the SPYs. I do want to make a little trade if we get down there. It's starting to come in again. So let's see what's going on. Tesla, we have a bid down on a 200 EMA, but this is Tesla's been so strong, right? Everybody hated Tesla. Here's a daily chart of Tesla.
I know, and once that's when I started to kind of change my mind on Tesla, because you mentioned how short people were wanting to get whatever. It was funny because for a while there, right? I mean, Dave, you've been doing this for a while, like you said. Tesla for how many years was like the most shorted stock on the market, or one of the most shorted stocks, right? It was always up there. And then after a while, in the past couple years, I think people got kind of sick of shorting it. People got sick of, whatever. And then right when that happened, right when Tesla finally fell out of the top 10 most shorted stocks or whatever, then it finally started to move lower, and it kept moving lower, and it kept moving lower. And then people were so sure, okay, this thing is tanking, it's going to go way below 100, whatever. Now we're getting back shorted. And that's when I started thinking all right, I've seen this before. I know what happens when a lot of people get short Tesla. It doesn't go down. So once everyone started, talking about getting short Tesla, which I've been not a big fan of Tesla, is when I'm like, maybe, here's where I don't want to be buying Tesla puts, and I didn't go long it. I didn't really make money going long it, but I did. And I'm on the show. You can go back and watch it saying I would much rather be long Tesla here than short, just because we've already gone down, 60, 70%. And now you're starting to see that short interest pick back up again.
Us too, Jim. We love this stock. Yeah, I mean, there were a couple of instances, and I have someone in my room that all he does is trade Tesla, and he has been absolutely spectacular. But there were a couple of spots here, okay, and no one was getting the bottom, right? I wasn't getting $100 or whatever it was. But here's where we really started to get interested. When it got above this 124 level, and this is our daily chart, right? So this is telling us that it's starting to break the downtrend, right? So as soon as we saw this above 124, and basically we've been on this and liking it since it was $124. And then when we got above our 30 EMA at 135, we got above our 65 EMA at 164, and we got a little stretched out. We just got a little stretched out in the last few days. We were looking actually at this 216 level. If you guys can see my 200 EMA here, that was a spot that I wanted to start buying some puts in. And I think we missed that day by like, I don't know, $1 or $2. And now we've had a nice normal pullback. And look, even now it's holding the trend line, on the upside. So I'd like to see a pullback down to 183, even maybe 167, 170 to get involved again on the long side. But it has been just a beautiful technical chart all the way up on the long side. And always, Aaron, this is what I've noticed in my 35 years. There were more people downgrading Tesla at 102, okay, than they were upgrading it. More people downgrading, because that's always what happens. At 101, it was going to 73, right? So, and those people are always wrong.
I know, that's what's funny. When the stock's going up, they're raising the price targets. When it's going down, they're lowering, and it's like you'd be so underwater if you were just following what these analysts are saying a lot of the times.
Yeah, I loved how Kathy Wood came out last week and said ARK is the new NASDAQ. That's what she came out and said last week or 2 weeks ago. And it's someone who has a 5-year plan. And again, I don't know. I don't want to talk about her, but whatever.
Yeah.
There are no, as far as I'm concerned, Aaron, there are no experts in this market. They just aren't. The only thing we know to be true is 5 years from now, the market's going to be higher than where it is. And 10 years from now, it's going to be higher from where that is. And, we had a really good spot, to start picking at some stuff when we were down here. We had like a monthly level down there. If you check out the spiders, we almost got there, right, to that monthly level. So look, your age and people younger than that, you always buy those big, giant dipsy witsies and just forget you have it.
How about Google going down like 12% in like 2 days last week because of this AI thing? Yeah. I think that's such a silly overreaction. And like for someone like myself, like I can just use this as an opportunity to now buy Google at a discount for the long term. Because like, all right, even if Google's, okay, say it's true that Google's behind Microsoft and some other competitors when it comes to AI. Google's huge. They have so much money. You really think over time they're not going to like start catching up to them a little bit or start bridging that gap?
100%. Absolutely, 100%.
It's freaking Google. Like they're not going to let AI just, oh no, we won't. We're not going to focus on that. We're going to let them all do that. We won't be a big player. It's Google. Come on now.
Yep, I'm with you. I mean, this thing made a low. I remember when we were on with you, and the three stocks we talked about were Google, Amazon, and Microsoft, and they were getting down to these levels when we were talking about them and saying that they were long-term buys. I hope they get down to those levels again, quite honestly. But if you even look at Google from a technical aspect, okay, it got a little overbought up here. We went from 83, we went up 30 points. What's that, 35%? Got a little overbought, hit some resistance up here, and now we're pulling back. But yeah, if we get anywhere near those lows again, even if whatever, I don't tell people what to do or buy stocks long-term, but this stock's going to be fine long-term. There's just no question about it. Google's not going anywhere. Right.
Yeah. And that's why.
That is another.
And again, I understand why investors with Google like may have been upset or selling the stock a little bit because it's like, all right, Google has spent billions and billions of dollars in AI, and some people are basically like, it's not acceptable for them to be so far behind. But I also don't really know how far behind, if they are behind at all, and B, it's like again, it's just such a big opportunity. I think AI in general. And I think Google is a big enough company with enough money to spend in R&D that they're not going to just let AI, they're not going to let it just pass them by.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
What were you going to say about you were going to talk about Amazon though, or Microsoft?
No, it was just the ones that we were talking about when these things all got smacked down that were going to be the first ones to turn when they did. And if we look at the weekly levels and all these things, these are the first ones that turned when the market got a little better. I mean, this thing went from 82 to 110. Right? What did
got it? Any other particular like industries you're watching right now, Dave? Like energy or financials, anything at all?
No, you know us, Aaron. I'm looking to trade wherever the action is. That's all we want to do. Then I'll trade stocks that I never heard of before. You know that. I don't care. But again, for the long-term portfolios, just ride this out. You're going to be fine. For day trading, it's all about technical analysis to me. And if you're not using your technical analysis and, more importantly, your money management skills when you get into a trade, you probably shouldn't be doing this. That's what you have to learn first. Day trading nightmare, up and down, and today stopped out of everything, but at least still got cash. Yeah, JG, today was a tough day. You had to be a little more. Yes, I saw that Tesla got back above the 200 here. You had to be a little more. You cut your size a little bit and be a little more prudent today. But there's going to be days like that, right? Having a losing trade or a losing day doesn't mean you're a loser. Okay, it's part of doing business. That's just the way it is. It happens. But as long as you're consistent and you're using all your rules, the bottom line is I've made money my whole life doing this. So it's just a matter of being patient and disciplined. Stocks will turn the 200, touch the 200 today on the daily. Let's check that out. Yeah, it almost tickled it. Soxel's not something I'm going to trade, MD, because it's just not volatile enough. Soxel, for those of you guys who don't know, is the chip index. It follows NVIDIA and AMD, and the opposite one is SOXS. They go in opposite directions. So when the semis are going up, this one's going down.
Dave, tell us a little bit about your webinar coming up.
Okay, so tomorrow night at 7 p.m. We do this once a month. And what we're trying to do, and we've been extremely busy lately, Aaron. A couple of weeks ago, we had 1,000 people in there. We're trying to educate people on this market specifically, and we concentrate on day trading. And there are a lot of people out there who aren't even using technical analysis, have no rules. I'm hearing from people every day that are blowing up their trading accounts because they have an opinion, or they think this is going to happen, or they think that's going to happen. So tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, I'm going to start out by talking about psychology and money management for a half hour or so. I'm going to share some of our exact technical analysis that we use and walk you through some of our trading setups. And then I'm going to answer any questions anybody has. We'll talk about getting started. We'll talk about the different money you need to get involved. What I've noticed a lot lately, Aaron, and we're moving to it a little bit, is options. I have an options expert in my room. We're actually putting together a program to do that for people who don't have 25 grand, which is probably the majority of people out there. We can chart options just like we do a stock and trade them based on the charts also. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow night too. If you're struggling, if you want to learn how to do this, you want to take it to the next level, pop by for an hour, hour and a half. Does not cost anything. It's wsgta.com. And we'll see everybody there tomorrow night. I guarantee you guys, I always say this to people, Aaron, I'll make you a 50% better trader if you're struggling in the 2 hours that we're going to be together tomorrow night.
There you go. I'm going to drop that link in the chat. If you guys want to go check that out, Wall Street Global Trading Academy, or just go to wsgta.com. It'll redirect you there. But Dave, thanks for hopping on with us today. We got to get you back on a regular schedule. You want to come back on next Tuesday?
Absolutely. Yes. 11:30, 11:45, whatever works better for you.
All right. Yes, sir.
Before I go, give me one more minute, guys. Again, as important as my charts, guys, is using Benzinga and Benzinga Live. The best news service that there is out there. It is so worth the money. If you get one trade out of it in a year, it more than pays for it. And their news service is the best. They're charting. They just have everything. If you guys aren't doing that, you're crazy if you're not to, okay? I think always a 2-week free trial, right, Aaron?
Yes, sir. No credit card needed. Just drop that link in the chat, pro.benzinga.com, to go check out Benzinga
guys,
Pro.
It's important. It's as important to me in our trading room as our charts are. So definitely
there you go.
Take a 2-week free trial and jump on board there. All right, Aaron, thank you. I hope to see a bunch of you guys tomorrow night, and we'll be back on next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday. Oh, wait. Actually, there's a chance.
We'll be back on next Wednesday.
Yeah, there's a chance. There's a chance. I'll let you know. I'll text you because I'm traveling. I'm traveling. I'll be traveling back on Tuesday, I believe. So I'm not sure if I'll be live or not, but I'll let you know.
Okay. One more thing, if I can.
Of course.
Next week's my boot camp too, but that's okay. We can do that.
Yeah. Well,
if you don't mind, dgreen927@yahoo.com. Pop that up there for me, Aaron. And
yes,
guys,
sir.
anyone who wants a free trial, 5-day trial in my room, besides my boot camp, send me an email. I'll hook you up. You come hang out with us 5 days and trade the markets live for free.
Boom. There you got it. David
That's
Green,
it.
my
That's all I
man.
got.
We'll catch you next week, whether it's Tuesday or Wednesday. Till then, as always, stay green, Mr. Green.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. All righty, guys, we're going to keep it ticking. We're running a few minutes behind. I see our next guest hanging out backstage. Dan Raju, the CEO of Tradier, is going to join us. We're going to be talking about some trends that we're seeing from retail investors on Tradier, see what's going on there. A lot of AI talk today. So without further ado, let's keep it rolling. Let's go ahead and give Dan our very special Zinger Nation intro. And when we come back, we'll be talking AI, retail investors, you name it. Let us know in the chat if you've got any questions. And I'll see you in a second. Mr. Dan Raju, the CEO of Tradier. How are you doing today?
Aaron, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. So before we get started, you wanted to give our audience just a quick introduction into who you are and what Tradier is?
Yes, hi. Happy to do that. Thanks for having me, Aaron. My name is Dan Raju. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Tradier. We're a very unique brokerage firm, right? We largely focus on more active investing. We have grown over the years with a very unique model where we distribute brokerage services through hundreds of platforms. We do today 1% of the US retail market. So we have grown to that size with a very unique model, and that's largely based around the fact that we believe that traders, particularly active traders, and mostly options traders, need a lot of choice. And so we have built an ecosystem of partners and platforms that are connected through our API, and we offer some stellar brokerage services and products to them. So that's kind of the heart. We're one of the most widely used brokerage APIs in the market, and we have been the de facto destination for people trying to build trading platforms. So that's our background, and like I said, we do considerable volume in the market today, so that gives us some amazing insights into what's happening in the retail market. We're like largely 80% of our business is options. So
okay. So just so I understand correctly, this is a platform. Is it a full-fledged brokerage service? Can someone go on here and trade their actual options contracts on Tradier?
Yeah, it's fairly simple. I mean, we have got hundreds of firms who build trading platforms on top of our APIs, and you can pretty much for $10 a month pretty much get access to unlimited options trading and equity trading, and get access to hundreds of third-party platforms that have been built on top of our API. So that's what can we do.
Got it. Makes sense. I like that. So you get, for this $10 a month, you get not only the commission-free trades, unlimited options trades, but again, access to all these other APIs and information that are coming from other brokerages.
Right. So predominant brokerage is mostly technical analysis platforms. So charting, analysis, research, mobile, what we call as trading automation platforms, robo advisors, digital advisors. I mean, people trade from newsletters. So we got all these kinds of platforms that have been built on top of our API. And so think of us, the most simplest way to think of us is like we are a brokerage firm, just like E-Trade, Ameritrade, Robinhood. But our last mile is delivered by partnerships with hundreds of platforms. So if you have a typical charting platform, they would build integration with us, and you can trade from the charting platform like we were looking at earlier, while actually using the charting platform. So pretty much connected to most of the technical analysis, research, social, mobile, and web platforms.
Got it. So how are different retail investors kind of starting to use different trading bots, AI, in parts of those trading, or how does that work?
We like I said, we connect so many platforms. I mean, at this point in time, we have 281 firms that actually use us. Some really, really large ones to a lot of startups too. I mean, what we see right now as it pertains to AI, particularly in the retail trading side, is like I kind of basically put that technology at a point where we still have to see what I call as artificial intelligence kind of come close to replacing the human intelligence part of it. But I still see. I think the technology has got wide interest, and I love coming from a technology background. I love what it can do, but I think the technology is still, from a mass adoption side of way of thinking about it, it's still in the floating phase. I think people find a lot of maturity in it. People find specific use cases, but still the market has to see a specific use case that has mass adoption. And so that's where I call it, about a few feet away from replacing human intelligence, but has huge potential. So it's in a floating state, but it's trying to find its best use case. But I also think that the adoption of AI, particularly in the retail trading market, will occur more on the back office side of things before it actually touches directly being used by a trader like you or me. I think that's where I see it more being used first, than directly impacting basic trading like you and I do.
Yeah, so it might make more, I mean, for retail investors right now, the more applicable thing for AI might be that they're looking at different stocks that could be, AI plays. Have you guys seen a big like uptick in interest in equities, related to AI plays, maybe like C3 AI or even Microsoft or Google?
Yeah, I mean, we see interest in AI two sides, right? We see retail volumes that seem to be directed toward companies who are playing in that space much more recently because of some of the hype that's been there in the market. But at the same time, we see the usage of the technology and platforms more on the advice side of things than on the typical self-directed retail side of things. I think we have got people who are creating, automated insights, scanning existing large volumes of data, trying to create, automatically managed portfolios based upon that. So I see a lot of adoption of AI on the digital advice and the asset side of things. On the typical self-directed retail side of things, there's quite a bit of interest. We still have to find retail traders really using signals and insights created by AI to impact their day-to-day trading habits. We still have to see that yet.
Got it. So, something else I'm curious about, Dan. How do you think that, as the market's developing, of course, we got CPI data this morning. How do you think inflation uncertainty is continuing to affect retail trader movements?
It is, right. I mean, you right now have, this is what think is going to happen, right? I mean, you see that. I don't know if you've got a chance to look at the CPI numbers this morning, right? I mean, the numbers went in the opposite direction. So I think you're going to have. I'm really going to doubt if the Fed's ambition of bringing it to the 2 to 3% inflation will ever occur in the next 1 to 2 years, right? I expect a long phase of more than 3% inflation for a long time, right? So I think the Fed instrument of increasing interest rates and as a way to control inflation is not going to be met with that much amount of success. It has shown some success, so I expect an elongated period of what I call as high inflation. But at the same time, I think because of the high interest rates that are basically being created, I think you have a lot of these tech stocks that basically are going to be under pressure for a long time, because high interest rates generally tend to impact tech then more than anything else, because they tend to pay lesser dividends. As a result of it, I think people have less interest. You're going to see these fluctuations in tech stocks, but I think over a period of time, the high interest rate pressure on tech is going to stay for a long time. So I see this period of what I call as midway inflation and high interest rates keeping the sector under pressure. But so it creates a unique impact on the retail trading market, and you already have seen that, right? So what happens is if you break up the retail market into active traders and early investors, right? Active traders are basically firms like us who basically are supporting the more active options traders and more frequently trading, the larger size ticket traders with more assets in their account. Those traders are doing well, they're growing, and that's the reason you see a huge growth in the options market. So high interest rates generally tend to favor the options markets. One of the reasons you're today doing more single stock options trades than you're actually doing the number of shares in the market, right? So I think that is the reason why I think the high interest rate creates that option-centric behavior in the market, attracts a lot of these more active traders to come into the market. They find opportunities in it, particularly when you have an extended period of volatility. The active players come in, but the early millennial investors kind of hold up. And if you see, if what we see from our data is the under 35-year-old, account size is less than $5,000. Those folks are not doing that much trading volume like they did before. So you're seeing lesser and lesser meme stock rallies, and you're seeing lesser and lesser of that. And you see them holding up. You see a lot of these startups in that phase kind of just going into a freeze mode. And so you're seeing a lot more active traders come up. So yeah, good for options. More active traders are finding opportunity in retail markets. I expect an extended period of at midway inflation and high interest rates to go for a long time.
Yeah. So do you think, I mean, but before, that next big wave of like retail coming in and the, more meme stocks and stuff like that, do you think that's not going to happen until interest rates start to fall? Like, do you think that's a byproduct of higher interest rates? The fact that there's been less maybe, interest among retail and just, these like type of meme stock plays?
Yeah, I do. I see that direct correlation. In fact, I've done quite a bit of work in that area. So basically, yeah, I think when you have interest rates high, it kind of pushes the momentum trader out of the market, because the market just doesn't go one way. I mean, so what happens is the momentum based traders kind of just basically hold up, and so that's where most of the what I call as the much younger audience, I mean, for lack of a better word, app based trading based customer clients, and social driven insights based trading, whether you want to call them meme stock rallies or not, right? So those kind of will slow down, and you can see the numbers, right? The number of meme stock rallies in 2020 to 2021 to 2022 to 2023, they're lesser and lesser. I mean, you can count on your fingers how much you see that anymore. But at the same time, you see active trading volumes go up, and most of our clients, I mean, we ourselves have grown like almost like 200% in the last 1 year, but it's just our clients too. They all products and platforms, firms like IB, Tradier, and all grow in these markets, and the early stage investor supporting products, mostly apps, kind of get pushed a little bit.
Got it. That makes sense. So what other, I mean, any other big trends outside of like AI, and how inflation's impacting, I mean, things that you're noticing right now with retail investors, maybe specifically?
Yeah, I see. I think what is happening is what I see fundamentally is kind of fascinating. I see a massive graduation effect in the market. That's what we see. So what has happened, Aaron, is starting 2018, right? Roughly 25 million traders had jumped into the retail markets, right? And so now you have that situation where the pandemic has forced them to actually learn under fire. And so you see that you see those traders actually adopting more what I call as more active strategy-based trading and options. And so you're seeing a huge growth in the options market because of that. So I see a massive graduation effect, and you guys will notice there's a huge, particularly Benzinga, you will notice, right? The need for education in the market is huge. A lot of educators jumping into the market, a lot of platforms being launched. So one of the interesting trends that I think not many people are talking about is the fact that there is a huge influx of traders coming into the active space who kind of got educated under pressure during the pandemic. And even after the pandemic has slowed down, they have adopted so many tools and platforms and options, and that is being reflected in active trading volumes. One interesting stat is, if you take a look at stock trading volume, it has kind of been broken even, or it's kind of just been flat. Options volume continue to grow. But if you go a level below those trading volumes and what kind of accounts place those equity trades, you'll see that trading volume is it's even though it looks flat, it is coming from traders who are traders who are more like 35 and more years, who are doing more trading and kind of offsetting for the early stage investor who is not that active anymore.
Got it. That makes sense. I mean, I think that's interesting that's an interesting insight that equity, like normal stock trading, has kind of started to plateau, but options trading has continued to grow. And I wonder why that is. I mean, I know with the COVID markets and everything, when a bunch of new investors came in, options trading was hitting all-time highs and everything. So it's interesting. I know, you'll be the guy I need to talk to see if options trading continues to grow at that pace, or if eventually we start to see that then options trading is start to kind of taper off as well.
The number of traders, Aaron, we see who start trading options within less than 6 months of them opening a brokerage account has substantially grown at Tradier from when as we track accounts. So initially, what would happen is customer would come, he would get into pure simple stock trading. It'll be a year or so or two, then he starts touching options. But now it's totally different. You see them jumping into options fairly quickly, and the reason is fairly simple. That is the graduation effect that we just spoke about. Tremendous amounts of tools and education being driven in the market, and the friction of prices has also come down. Firms like Tradier are giving it away for $10, so you have it's a lot less to get into options too. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, I think you're going to have an interesting year of 2023 where you're going to see higher regulation of that market. At the same time, you're going to see tremendous growth in options. So.
Well, there you go. All right, Dan Raju, the CEO of Tradier. I'm going to go ahead and drop that link in the chat. Tradier, go tradier.com. Go check it out. Any other final words of wisdom for us today, Dan?
Yeah, thanks for having us. I think you guys do an amazing job. I think the popularity of what you guys do is the popularity of education is the way I relate them both to travel in the same direction. So yeah, I mean, we're there to help any way we can help. If you're in the options trading space, I mean, you pretty much will always run across us, but we're there to help. And we're happy. We have been a great Benzinga has been a great partner for us over the years. So happy to talk to you guys.
Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, our audience is mostly retail investors. I know you guys have a lot of retail investors trade on your platform as well. A lot of our readers, we see that the interest kind of tracks, right? In the past couple of years, we've seen interest in options content really skyrocket and stuff. So I'm sure there's a million ways we can be using some of this data and insights together to whether it's delivering content or whatever it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. All right, Dan, well, enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to join us today. We'll get you on again soon, okay?
Thanks, Aaron. Nice talking to you.
You too, man. All right. Have a good one. All right, guys. That was Dan Raju, the CEO of Tradier. Gotta go ahead and drop that link in the chat. Guys, go check that out if you're looking for a new place to trade options. But alrighty, y'all. It is about 12:30 p.m. Eastern. We're gonna wrap a little bit early today since we started a little bit early today. But Money Mitch will be on later with his swing trading, so make sure to stick around for that because he'll have Christian Fromhertz on the show, which is going to be a pretty big, good interview. Without further ado, go ahead and roll that intro and we'll come back. We'll be back tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. Eastern, normal time. Till then, stay green. Love you.
This is Benzinga Live.